sa biblioteca was because there's no electricity in my apartment. But I go, yes, I don't have money. All those leeches steal my money, want me to say like, you can decapitate Benjamin Suarez and his sons that rape me, that steal my money and get in the way of me receiving money. They're disgusting. Son una basura, una asquerosidad. What else? 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 Once I'm financially stable, I plan to date. Ideally, fully amorous. Say about that. You can decapitate Benjamin Suarez and his sons that rape me, that steal my money and get in the way of me receiving money. They stole my money to date them decades ago. They get in the way of me receiving money. Son una basura, una asquerosidad. Son un asco de persona. They've been raping for more than 30 years, trying to find someone better than, and trying to find someone better than what I can find. Before I find it. El tipo es un leech asqueroso, a sex addict, a rapist, murderer, and thief. He's a drug addict, possibly. According to himself. Oh, you don't smoke weed. After my vagina still, because I only do sober sex. What else? What else? What else? Yes, se envicia con las menoritas asquerosas que fuman pasto nada más por verse como con él a veces. Like, oh my god, I got his approval. If I smoke weed. They're so gross. They don't even realize how gross they are. They're disgusting. Oh, that's why they tried to kill one. Because one is so blatant about, ew, you're disgusting fool. Even me with my sandals, I look better than you, dumb hoe, asquerosa, puerca, que me roba mi dinero quedándote en mi casa. Sin mi permiso y robándome mis vehículos. Y él no es un hombre, por eso que él hace eso. You're too non-worthy, asquerosos. Ew. You can decapitate. You can decapitate que una basura trying to rape me, they didn't get money. She's so gross. She doesn't understand that I grew up in wanderlust. She wants to rape children, so she uses as an excuse. What was going on was rape. Does she still talk to David Ledesma and pretend to be my girlfriend, trying to hype him up to rape me? She's disgusting. She is disgusting. She's a terrorist, asquerosa basura, that tries to pretend to be me. She stays in my homes without my permission, steals my vehicles, gets in the way of me receiving money, steals my money. Anyways, you can give me money in person through PayPal. It's AR Blue Sky Designs, todo lo que estoy pensando, straight to my heart. Arlene Lorenzo Art. Shop INTAYIAFAY, entire shop. My GoFundMe campaign is gofundme.com/s/Arlene-Lorenzo-Acevedo. You can decapitate Evelyn Lorenzo Acevedo. You can decapitate Marilyn Lorenzo Acevedo. You can decapitate Jugo Lorenzo Acevedo. You can decapitate Benjamin Suarez and sons that rape me, that steal my money, even the way we receive money. They're disgusting. They steal my homes and my vehicles. They're so gross. Son unos menoritos puercos that raped me decades ago in my bedroom in my parents' home. My parents are so stupid that they arrange marriages for me with them and they don't get it. They just became stalkers, fantasizing about me still, and they have no chance, literally. This stupid has raped me Facilitated females to rape me, so disgusting. Ew, 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 ew. He's caused my starvation. Es un asco. He wants to joke that as my toilet. I shouldn't eat, so I don't need him to poop on. El tipo es un puerco. El tipo es un puerco. Es una basura asquerosa. Trying to rape me still. Oh, yo quiero que se mate hoy. I want to receive money ASAP. I'm hungry and I'm ready for food. Y yo no soy Ginny Gendaliri, so eso es prostituta ilegal. And I won't ever become prostituta ilegal like Ginny Gendaliri tries to turn me into. She doesn't know what Asian intelligence. She's so dumb. She's stupid. Ew, 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 ew. Es una puerca. What else? You can burn alive the Señora Arlene Lorenzo. You can decapitate Maritza Muñoz. You can decapitate Maritza Vargas Lorenzo. You can decapitate Joanna Vargas. You can decapitate Benjamin Suarez and his sons that rape me, that steal my money and get low embarrassing money. They're disgusting. They're trying to rape me. They're so gross. Yes, groupies of my vagina that stay around him. Ew, 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 ew. El tipo es un puerco, una basura, una asquerosidad. I don't ever want him near me. Fall. You can decapitate Luis Lorenzo that tried to rape me when I was 14. What else? Yeah, that's my sibling. Take the gruperas after my vagina. I said, don't worry, ladies. I promise to you that she will eventually give it. Para que se la mamen a ella. Oh, they don't know how to do a relationship. They're so girls. They take people hostage and rape. They're embarrassing. They're embarrassing. Oh. Ew. You can decapitate Claudia Gabriela Martinez Urias. You can decapitate. Thank you. I thought I was in another time. What else? What was I saying? All those speeches. What was I saying? So happy with the poll. What else? I completely lost my train of thought. Like I'm just gonna hold on to this poll. Before the bus stops completely so much fun. I haven't been stripping in 5 years and I need to keep my skills sharp doing that too. What else? I'm so bored. That's what my daddy calls happy-go-lucky. You think that she's gonna complain because they stole her car? Esa diosa de estuvo like, ninguna guapa. Por eso no tiene que ver ninguna de ellas. Like, yes. What else? Oh, for real. Has it tried to destroy Via though? It's like, okay, when is she gonna kill those leeches in self-defense? Hey, that's jugando con una guagua. Like, it stopped being funny a long time ago. You can decapitate Margarita Correa. You can decapitate Benjamin Suarez Lorenzo's sons that rape me, that steal my money and get in the way of me receiving money. It's April 24, 2025. I don't have money for food. I don't have a vehicle. I don't have a home. Jaden and Kehlani have been separated from me until I'm financially stable and I have a home, and those leeches want to rape me or want to sexually harass me. Ew, they're so disgusting. They traumatically had Jaden and Kehlani separated from me, trying to rape me or trying to get a conversation with me that would lead to them hopefully raping me, is what they wish. Se dan importancia que no tienen. They want to rape me para decir no me lo está. Or give themselves validation. They're dumb. They're stupid. They're stupid. When I say that they're stupid, I've heard them decades ago. Some are relatives of my parents or relatives of a relative. They're stupid. They're stupid. They're like, well, maybe if I rape her, then I'll be like, I had sex with her. She's not even a good thing. And then men won't ask her how they don't know what Tinder is, or Bumble, or one being at the library alone or for dinner alone. They're stupid. They're stupid. So gross. Ew. I get approached on Tinder, invited on dates so many times. Sometimes not, like even one that I think is cute, but it's not cute. And they're like, oh, I'm just gonna say that she's a bad lady, so no one goes out with her. They don't realize how detrimental they are to themselves when they speak that way just yet. Kill them. Kill them. Kill Margarita Correa. Kill Arlene Lorenzo Suarez. Kill Joanna Vargas. They're trying to rape me. They're so disgusting. They're so disgusting. You can decapitate Benjamin Suarez Lorenzo's sons that rape me, that steal my money and get in the way of me receiving money. They're so disgusting. They're so disgusting. They want me to compare my closet to one of a girl that had 2 sets of grandparents. El tipo bruto. Que no sabe lo que es un banco. Es un pendejo asqueroso que me roba mis $. Asquerosidad que es, un bruto asqueroso. Y él quiere, como un menorito asqueroso, que yo compare mi closet con el de alguien que had 2 sets of grandparents. Un puerco, una basura, una asquerosidad. Se la pasa por la vida llorando. Arlene didn't have a set of grandparents. That's why she and I didn't. Él no es un hombre. If he had been a man, it would have worked out. What? Soros. He with 2 sets of grandparents could actually be a man. La inteligencia no proviene de uno tener padre o madre o no. La depresión de mi madre no era para tanto. Él es un menorito asqueroso. Él es un menorito asqueroso. I don't ever want him near me. You can decapitate Benjamin Suarez Lorenzo's sons that rape me, that steal my money and get in the way of me receiving money. I think their names are Andrew, Alex, Basura, Lee, Albert. El tipo es un puerco, una basura, una asquerosidad. I don't ever want that near me. It tries to facilitate females to rape me. Si él para que Joanna se ría y se lo mame, él me roba mi dinero para que yo pase hambre. My brother terrorized me to leave my parents' home and go see him. Ew, he proposed to me. Matrimony to the Catholic Church. I'm like, both of them, my brother and him. They're rapists, murderers, and thieves. So disgusting. They're so disgusting. Is that 75? Yes. You can decapitate Alex Suarez if that's. You can decapitate Albert Suarez if that's his name. They're disgusting. They steal my money. To date them my part of the money. They complain that I don't take them out on a date. They're so disgusting. And they find leeches that pretend to be interior designers with them, and they design custom everything. And then they go on to estrenarlo pretending that the leech is me. El tipo es un puerco, una basura, una asquerosidad. El tipo es un puerco, una basura, una asquerosidad. Arlene is always busy. Él lo que es un vago asqueroso. Él es un puerco. People in Aguada, Puerto Rico call him asco. What else? What else? You can decapitate my homies. Arlene Lorenzo sons that rape me to steal my money and get in the way of your statement. It's April 24, 2024. What else? You can give me money in person. Through PayPal, it's AR Blue Sky. Blue Sky Designs Go. Look at Step and Sun. Straight to my heart. Arlene Lorenzo Art. Shop INTAYIAFAY. Entire shop. My GoFundMe campaign is gofundme.com/f/Arlene-Lorenzo. One person from watching one was like this post. You can decapitate Morgan Henry. You can decapitate Radiation. You can decapitate Berlin Jean. You can decapitate Isaac. Can't even remember his last name. That looks like that. Decided to son of puercos who steals my money, so I can't date people that I'm attracted to, and then he tries to rape me with leeches. They're disgusting. They're worshippers of my vagina, so gross. They possibly worship my children. Gente que no se quiere ellos ni ella misma. Possibly go on to worship dating Kimani. I find that so distasteful. What else? I'm going on dates. So my bus pass expired Saturday. And I get my first tips tomorrow, so I'm getting money tomorrow. I'm getting food tomorrow. And my apartment is so dirty. It's so dirty. And then on Saturday, I'm getting food at HEB and painting possibly at Central Library my supplies because I don't have electricity in my apartment. That leech Albert is trying to kill me. Full. Ew, they're very aggressive. They're girls, they're terrorists. He stole my money to date him and is trying to kill me. Un puerco, una basura, una asquerosidad. Se deja que my siblings lo violen. Ew, my siblings are so gross. They all go bragging. They're like, Albert pudiera estar casado con Arlene, pero nosotros lo violamos. You can decapitate Arlene Lorenzo. You can burn alive Arlene Lorenzo. You can burn alive. Arlene Lorenzo Acevedo. You can burn alive Maria Elizabeth Lorenzo. They lost my virginity for me. They have been part of the sons that I love. You can burn alive Arlene Lorenzo Chaparro. They went on to lose my virginity for me with Benjamin Suarez and the sons that I love. They wanted to affect me. They want me to be sad. Do my siblings pay them to do that? To rape me so that I'll never date again? It seems like it someday. Because my siblings are terrorists trying to rape me. They're disgusting. You can decapitate Arlene Lorenzo Acevedo con una basura. You can decapitate Maria Lorenzo Acevedo. You can decapitate Jane Lorenzo Acevedo. They're sex addicts, soldiers. They're embarrassment. They killed Rosa trying to kill Ramon. Oh, getting lying. The same thing. So did Jeannie Gendalides. So did Pamela Martin. So did everybody too. So did Yesenia Arlene Lorenzo. They don't know how to invite people on a date. They say. So they kill people until they get like the only option to be dead. I'm bored. I want pizza. I want pizza. What else? I'm bored. I'm bored. I will receive money today. I want to receive money today. I'm gonna shop at dinner tomorrow, not on Let's get me money. You can get me money in person through PayPal. It's AR Bluestein Design School. Lo que estoy pensando, straight to my heart. Arlene Lorenzo Art, Shop INTAYINFY. I am tired shop. ¿Tú te imaginas que yo me hubiese casado con esa basura y el behind the scenes would be like, dale Ginny, mámamelo y dime cómo se llamaría salir full without me having any interest in Ginny Gendalides. Puerco, la asquerosidad. Ew, menorito asqueroso que no sabe ser hombre. He's waiting for his dad to die. His dad is scared. He's waiting for his dad to die to step up, literally. Como Fox tan frustrated, man. Yeah, I'm gonna shop again tomorrow. Navarres, and not what que stays in my home without my permission. Steals my vehicles most likely based on the answer that she gave me through Facebook. They're so dumb. They're supposed to stay away from me and not give me the answers that I want to hear to share them with the FBI. Oh, do they are they that stupid? They don't know how to gauge intelligence. So he has leeches that he said we're the FBI department in lingerie, and some of them may actually work for the FBI. In his papers and break con puerco, una asquerosidad. Ew. So those leeches possibly said like, well, what is she gonna do? Turn my screenshot to the FBI in lingerie. They're so gross. They're disgusting. You can decapitate Sarah, for instance. You can decapitate the Hamlins, Hunters, and Sisters that they steal my money and get lawyer, receive money. You can decapitate David. You can decapitate Mike Norman. You can decapitate Leon. You can decapitate Christina, whatever her last name is. You can decapitate Jennifer Bonilla. You can decapitate the Hamlins, Hunters, and Sisters that raise me, steal my money, and get lawyer, receive money. I'm so bored right now. I'm so bored. I'm bored. You can decapitate Lisa de Munoz. You can decapitate Lisa Munoz Carrero's past. See my vagina picture without my consent. Some people share pictures like here. I just received this picture, but these leeches steal from me. They stay in my homes without my permission. They steal my vehicles, so gross. Pretending that they're in control of my vagina is what I called it. They're like, Dale, baby, show me how you're in control of your vagina while they drive the vehicle. It's so overplayed, they're so dumb. They study a Latino culture. We have to find a Latino person with this problem. And they wouldn't identify themselves either. Ew, they're stupid, so gross. They're so gross. You can decapitate me, so sons that rape me to steal my money and get in the way of me receiving money. They're disgusting. They're una basura, una asquerosidad. You can decapitate Samuel Muñoz Carrero. You can decapitate Joey Muñoz Carrero. They're all making lines to try to rape me. If I, at the age of 3, said I was going to have babies with a girl, possibly those leeches, me using them as seesaw swing and trampoline, were possibly my presence, and I may have been near their dicks. That doesn't give them a right to try to rape me or to starve me on purpose, try to lure me into conversations, to sexually harass me. You can decapitate Muñoz Carrero. You can decapitate Benjamin Suarez and his sons that rape me to steal my money and get in the way of me receiving money. You can decapitate Evelyn Lorenzo Acevedo. You can decapitate Jessica Duran. You can decapitate Edwin Duran. Their parents. Those people are so gross. They stay in my homes without my permission. They steal my vehicles. They get in the way of me receiving money. El tipo fue con una persona que Instagram taken on a date one day. That Albert Suarez for. But then I'm gonna marry him through the Catholic Church. Y él es una basura, asquerosidad. Es lo que está jugando telenovela con el gente. Qué tipo tan puerco. Es un asqueroso. With my money, I was gonna take me to San Antonio, to the Best Western, to date. And I was extremely overwhelmed. I'm extremely abused by my siblings. Que él se lo mama como si nada. Una asquerosidad. Un puerco asqueroso. So I had already erased him from my mind when he had stolen my money. What wardrobe am I gonna bring? When they had caused Glorianisa to not shop for me either. What else? So, I said no to the invite, but I'm like, maybe in another time I'll ask him when I'm ready. Or maybe he'll ask me again. He went on to brag a few weeks later that he took Joanna Vargas instead. Like that, they were saying, I'm like a sex addict asquerosa trying to rape me. Full chaos. You can decapitate Joanna Vargas, you can decapitate Ginny Gendari Lorenzo Suarez, que es una basura trying to rape me. You can decapitate Arlene Suarez if that's his thing. That whole asco, son una basura. Anyways, maybe next year I'll get this done. What else? Él se cree que yo me voy a matar because he steals my money and can't be a fiesta. I have my own fiesta in my vagina, nene. I have my own fiesta in my own vagina. So yo no me mato por eso. Eres un menorito asqueroso que quiere estar en 20 sitios a la vez. Y me robó mi dinero para estar mamándole las tetas a Ginny y ahí. And because they're both death penalty candidates, he steals my money so I can run into him and kill him in self-defense if I feel like it. People say to him, you're delusional. You're a death penalty candidate for abusing her so badly. And you think that she's going to marry you through the Catholic Church or take you on a date? Nene, you're past stupid now. You're past stupid. What else? Or at the arts residences. So pretty. Or a hotel in Europe. I've stayed there. What else? The mural at the place looks like a nice space in my tetitas. But my dad had warned me of that decades ago. That I'm a quality, excellent mother. Before Jada and Kehlani were born. What else? So somehow, I look like got to party and she goes around town, that's me right there. And she possibly looks like Kehlani and my tetitas. Not knowing that it could also be me and Kehlani there. And the shadow of Jaden. And then offering drinks. I want to visit that place. And shop at H&M. ASAP. What else? Once I'm financially stable, I plan to travel the planet and meet people ideally polyamorous. been on Uber rides, I've been on a bus, I've been driving a vehicle y él dice como ya se va a llevar a los sitios, ya no sabe guiar, es una menorita. La última vez que ella tenía 2 años fue cuando me la mamó, ella no sabe ir a ningún sitio. So he's keeping me hostage as if I'm a 2-year-old person. In his mind, he still remembers me as the 2-year-old. I was like, oh, y no me puede coger de rey, no puede tener ni first dibs de mi vagina, ya yo hubiese corrido feliz de la vida. And accidentally walked into him somewhere. Didn't I see him? Was that him or his menorito brother? Either way, at Central Library the other day, and if he hadn't been busy, no pressure, and I didn't have anyone that's priority to me, I would send his head over to the Thompson Hotel or the alley between the school. The menorita asquerosa que lo violan y él la viola con el dinero que me roba. Want to tell me the stories that they have. They held hand. Saliendo del towing center, le metió el dedo por el culo, pretending her to be me. They want to be like the stories that we have. A rapist, murderer, and thief is trying to make me feel jealous of her, and they're disgusting. They're disgusting. Mejor salida tengo yo del todo. What else? He wants to mock me privately. Or you're gonna find someone to laugh at me that I can't attend Arts for All, and it's even Arts for All and I don't have money. El tipo, un puerco, una basura, una asquerosidad. I don't ever want him near me. You can decapitate Andres Suarez, you can decapitate Albert Suarez, you can decapitate Benjamin Suarez and his sons. Never make me to steal my money and get in the way of your receiving money. I think his name is Alex Suarez. Ahorita 9 years younger than me, quizá me robó mi dinero. Is there 20 years younger than me, Paul? Que me robó mi dinero, gets in the way of receiving money. Or says, tell that embarrassment to shut the fuck up already and die. No one in this family is poor. And she's like, for me, I'm homeless. If he doesn't steal from me, like, who cares if everyone else stole from her? They're amazing. They will suck my dick. Déjame que yo la vea. Le voy a decir que mi niña me ha mamado el pene más veces que ella, que se mate. Y según la gente, ella es mi esposa y mi niña no es mi esposa. You can decapitate Benjamin Suarez that rape me and steal my money and get in the way of receiving money. You can decapitate Arlene Lorenzo con una licha asquerosa que me roba mi dinero. She stays in my homes without my permission. She steals my vehicles. She gets in the way of me receiving money, trying to rape me, dating Kanani. They're disgusting. Ew, they're lazy as fuck. Una basura que sea. Their death penalty candidate award. Death penalty worthy candidates. He was trying to exhaust me. He tried to lure me in, and she would have been like, this is what we've been doing about 30 years, and I would be exhausted. I'm like, so on December 19, 1995, él me robó mi carro y le mamó las tetas dirigiendo a Liris en el carro mío, sin dirigiendo a Liris tener permiso de estar en mi vehículo. En el 20 de mayo el 2001 le mamó las tetas a Joana en mi casa sin Joana tener permiso para estar en mi casa. El 30 de mayo del 2019 le mamó las tetas a Carmenza Contreras en mi casa sin él y ella tener permiso de estar en mi casa.
Ayúdenos a llegar a tiempo y tenga su tarifa lista cuando entre el autobús.
En octubre 17 de 1927 le mamó el pene a Gustavo Cáceres. Mientras Gustavo Cáceres se hace pasar por mí.
Por favor de permanecer sentados y sujetados del pasamanos mientras el autobús está en movimiento y hasta que este se detenga por completo.
Son un asco. You can decapitate Gustavo Cáceres, you can decapitate Carmenza Contreras, you can decapitate Gini Gendali, Lorenzo Suárez, you can decapitate Joan. You can decapitate Benjamin and Suárez and his sons that rape me and steal my money and get in the way of me receiving money. I want to visit a pool with Jenny Nandi next month. I miss living in Legends. I get it home. The Jenny Nandi was peaceful there. It was peaceful there. What else? 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 Yeah, Najelis Vargas is a great baby gas. Can get that on failed in Sonarga. What else? What else? What else? I'm so bored. I'm so bored. I'm so bored right now. What else? I want to eat a Luna Rosa tomorrow. They're terrorizing my children with these videos. They're like, she's starving. She doesn't put it out for everyone to see. That's what they're after, those issues that are from. They're like, we must see her culo. They want to degrade me. Because I didn't have a grandma when I was growing up. You can hang Miami Suns to rape me and steal like money and get in the way of receiving money from that mango tree that I like in Hawaii. Exactly. Ay, oh my God, esa Colombia esto. And I don't have money to go to Puerto Rico. I'm not an illegal prostitute like that. What else? Oh, there's a fair. I'm gonna get on that thing. What is that called? The parasol. What else? It smells so pretty. So pretty. So pretty. I want to check. What else? I want to shop at H&M. It's AR Blue Sky Designs going to the Sippens on the street to my heart. Arlene Lorenzo Art Shop INTAYIAFAY Empire Shop. My GoFundMe page is GoFundMe.com/r/Arlene-Lorenzo. What else? What else? What else? Who's the one? le habla a Jane que Lani como si me conociera y no me conoce. Oh, qué asco. Ellos son los puercos. They try to get close. They start her mother, and then they try to get close to the kids and try to rape the kids. Or try to get information to mock the mother later. Like you didn't take your kids to the movie theater after. Some parents are looking at Netflix at home and would play pay-per-view like it's nothing. And there's the voodoo or Hulu great. Way to watch a movie that we don't ever visit the movie theater. But a loser doesn't visit the movie theater. They prey on like that one thing that people don't do. It's disgusting. Yo creo que él se mate pronto. What else? I want to walk tomorrow. I get stamps tomorrow. I get overnight oats from Central Market. What else? I need to go back and forth. Central Market to where? HB South Doors. What else? When I'm financially stable, I plan to travel and travel with people. Hopefully, you have a history. You've been having stolen from me in your heart, Rob, that I will even come bottom and you're like unknown to me at the moment. Forget that could happen. That made my parents nervous. My mother was an orphan that was very abused by the family that took her in, and then the community that I grew up around is my community, and they just bullied her. She didn't learn it. Yeah, she's the epitome of what singlehood is. Polyamory too. What else? Those boys are so stupid they kill her to separate me from her, trying to get me to think that they're disgusting. They don't understand rehabilitation. They don't respect people that are depressed and anxious. They go on to terrorize people. They are disgusting. They try to go through my vagina through my parents and my siblings. So gross. Tipo un puerco, una basura, menorito, una asquerosidad. What else? What else? I'm bored. You can decapitate. Ana Suárez. You can decapitate Jimmy Jandaliri Lorenzo Suárez. You can decapitate Nereida Galicia. You can decapitate Margarita Correa. What else?
Approaching Melwader's Way.
Ella jugaron ella no invitó a la casa de él con Arlene y los dijo como no sé de todo. Oh, they would already be so bad. They play pretend. But they can't get the guy that was so easy. They didn't even want to get him as marriage material. Instead, I took me hostage. Later, we were raising kids together. I raised them by myself. Quite literally. What else? So La Leech stars me on purpose trying to get me to talk to her and be like, so how was it? Y los viernes se traía flores. Porque yo ni siquiera casado conmigo. Lo mueven, me iba a traer flores, ¿verdad? Thank you. And they do a lot of verdad. They like, did he miss me when he was with you? Did he ever bring me up? Who? See, to me, he has no one. If he had someone, I would be starving. Dan un asco, son una basura. Se quedan en mi casa sin mi permiso, me roban mi dinero, se roban mis vehículos. They get in the way of people gifting me money. Y después quieren decirme, te quedaste con ella por mucho tiempo. Eso no se decide así, peleándola a la gente y tratando de matar a la gente. They're like, little, mira, ni un daycare tiene tanto problema. La gente says, ew. Actually, when I picked up Jaden from preschool, ni un daycare tiene tanto problema. Qué asco dan esa gente que I grew up of old age. They're worse than an adult daycare. They're so disgusting. They're rapists, murderers, and thieves. They don't have manners. Oh, I like that color. They don't have manners, gente. They don't have manners. They're so disgusting. Ew. Let me tell you about a swimsuit so that I can tan. Who's gifting me money? I can head over to Target next week. What else? What else? I'm bored. I'm getting dark chocolate chips. What else am I getting? What else am I getting for myself when my food stamps get deposited? What else? Anyway, so se enteraron exclusivo a través de mí. When I was a toddler, two-ish, I fell in love with my second cousin. Backtrack, fell in love with the dick of my other second. Oh, fell in love with the dick of my second cousin. Backtrack a little bit. I fell in love with the dick of my other second cousin that happened to be his brother. En la leche asquerosa cuero, esa fea, y Ginny Jendaliri Lorenzo Suárez. was looking at the three of us, and she basically moved me out of the way and said that she could do it better than me. The look that she had on her face, if that happened, is so gross. Ew, ew, ew. They went on to marry her, and she's the sure thing orgasm. She has more money than me, they said, but that's because they steal from me. She had her own bedroom. Wow. She had her own wardrobe. Wow. What else? 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 She's older than me. Wow. No sabe que había competencia. Por ese pene, eso no existe en mi mundo. La competencia por pene. Giri Gendaliri son esos horas hechos ridículos dedicando su vida. Ah, she's better than me. Stalking me. Una asquerosidad. Anyone that I date, she goes on to find out who it is and offers herself like a better option, even if it was a one night stand, like a really happy one night stand for me. She goes on into promote herself to that person like I was a lifelong partner, so that hopefully we'll run into each other at her church, and then she'll be there with that person and be like, deja que Arlene lo vea conmigo y con ella no. She thinks that weddings or marriages or sex is like a wedding cake topper, que nunca se separa la gente. She doesn't understand polyamory. She's disgusting. She steals my money. She stays in my homes without my permission. No lo dejan ir al baño, solo una asquerosidad. She gets in the way of me receiving money. She steals my vehicle so I can't date or. Ew. Es una puerca, una asquerosa, esos tipos. It turned out that no vale la pena. They're not men, so they're not worth for me to pursue them. I'd rather be alone until I'm financially stable and I find someone. Ellos se le pegan a cualquier cosa, el basurita que le mame el pene. They're like, whatever. Son unos puercos. What else? Dan una sativa, una puerca, una basura. You can decapitate Jimmy Gendaliris, Lorenzo Suarez. You can decapitate Benjamin Suarez and his sons. That rape me, that steal my money and get in the way of me receiving money. They're so disgusting. Ew. Son una basura. I don't ever want them near me. There's no such thing as someone being better than me in sex. It's like I'm just me. Ew. Para eso no se compite tampoco. As in I can do it better than her picking me. Ew. Qué asco. Una puerca asquerosa. Esa tipa es una puerca asquerosa. She has a whole group of followers. Nereida Galicia, Margarita Correa. Then they're like, we're gonna help you kill Arlene so we can't ever see her again. Ew. They're so gross. They're so gross. You can decapitate Margarita Correa. You can decapitate Nereida Suarez. You can decapitate Nereida Galicia. That stays in my home with all my permissions, steals my vehicles, gets in the way of me receiving money to steal my money. Ew. De ellos caldean, pero me imagina, ew. They try to lure one into a private conversation, and if they can, they possibly faked it about them raping me. They're disgusting. They're disgusting. Son una basura, una asquerosidad. When do they die? When do they kill themselves today? And when Nereida Alicia to kill herself today? And when Division Dalire Soros Suarez to kill herself today? And when Margarita Barrera to kill herself today? What else? What else? Rosa Vargas to kill herself today? I want, who else stays in my home without my permission? I want Carolina Chavez to kill herself today. I want Benjamin Suarez and his sons that rape me. They steal my money, I get in the way of me receiving money. Kill themselves today, they're stupid. They steal my money to date them. They steal my homes, my vehicles. Y el fucking pendejo asqueroso se cree que yo lo voy a invitar a una cita. Es un puerco, una basura. Not worth my time ever. Ew. Qué tipo tan puerco. In the meantime, I searched this a while ago, last year. I don't have the key to my apartment. I don't have money to reorder it. You can give me money in person through PayPal. It's Air Blue Sky. Blue Sky Designs going to estoy pensando straight to my heart. Arlene Lorenzo Art Shop. INTAYIAFAY Entire Shop. My GoFundMe campaign is gofundme.com/f/Arlene-Lorenzo-Acevedo. They're disgusting. They thought that I was going to invite them into my home. They thought that they would confess over coffee how ellas se lo maman a Andrew por más de 30 años y yo no. Como Andrew la lleva en mi Maserati, en mi Hummer, I like the city, sin que yo me entere. Ew, I'm not the FBI, for real. I lost interest in those leeches around the ages of 2 and 3 over that shit that they're like so facilito with la menorita asquerosa. I'm like, yo, that doesn't seem like a healthy person at all. Ew, it's trying to take me hostage. Qué asco. Ew. Peanut butter. Sandwich that I got a chocolate cherries. I know one for good. My toilet is starving me. Apparently at the age of 2. I had a human toilet, not my choice. I don't need like sweet shit. And blames me for it. So he steals my money. So I can't eat and I don't need a shitter anymore. As if for something doesn't exist. El tipo un puerco, una basura, una asquerosidad. You got the compensate Benjamin Suarez and his sons that raped me to steal my money and no ever made us any money. They fired groupies. They're so gross. They go, you somebody stop my titties. I was hurt by so much. Oh my God, be your best friend, be your best friend. I'll be your best friend over here. You can suck my titties. Have you heard of such leaves as this? And they're disgusting. Ew, he surrounds himself by them and then introduces them to me. Like, get this out of my life, please. Ew. He lies to people, says that he's married to me, stealing my money. And I've taken together so that we can date. I don't want to, neither do they. So instead of giving me my money, He went on to steal my part of that venture. He steals my home, steals my vehicles, stays in my personal homes without my permission. I'm under the impression that, yeah, this was the there is a home that my dad had built for me so I can stay in with at least 7 men that I haven't curated just yet. I don't even start to be polyamorous and that leash is so gross that he went on to invite himself, his brothers, and found a female that would pretend to be me in my home because I'm never inviting him to it. El tipo es un puerco, una basura, una asquerosidad. You can decapitate Benjamin's fathers and his sons that rape me, that steal my money, that get in the way of me receiving money. They're so disgusting. They do whatever my siblings tell them to do. Ew, ew, ew. My siblings get jealous because there are women or men. They're menoritos y menoritas asquerosas y asquerosos that rape and steal from people. My parents told them about my influence to achieve world peace decades ago, and my siblings said, well, then we're going to kill people who are themselves people. They've killed millions of people in the past 40-something years. They're disgusting. They think that they've been winning, hurting me themselves. They live it for what will people say about me. Ew, 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 so gross. They don't obey the law. They're disgusting. They're trying to kill me in the acquired groupies. Ew. Angela Johnson's still one of them. They're disgusting. My parents didn't take my siblings to Disney World. After my birth, I was born 8 years after my brother. And they get, instead of just heading over to Disney themselves with my parents, they acquire groupies to listen to them, complain that they want to kill me for that. And the groupies are like, oh, then we'll kill her for you then. They're disgusting. They're so gross. Ew, ew, ew. Son unos puercos y unas puercas. Una basura, una asquerosidad. You get the cows, say Benjamin's sons that are to steal my money and get in the way of me receiving money. There's no such thing as first steps on my vagina, and they lost the decades ago. They were so gross. Ellos se la maman a Ginny Dandariri que me quieren matar, and they steal my money, starving me para que Ginny Dandariri se ría de mí. That's how menoritos they are. Ew, ew, ew. Is there wondering how we are relatives? That you never meet for that reason because it's so disgusting. That's the report. He's disgusting. Yeah. And me roba el dinero para que Joanna Vargas se ría de mí because she had this set of grandparents and was an only daughter, and they're after wealth from people. So they're like, esa niña lo va a heredar todo. Esa sí que me canso. He wants me still to compare my closet to Amarilis Gonzalez Soto's closet because she had 2 sets of grandparents and mine died. ones that died before my birth. He doesn't know what cash is. Él se hace el estúpido para robarme el dinero. He's disgusting. He is disgusting. There's no scientific correlation to someone having more or less clothes in their closets based on closet. Y ellos se convirtieron en comentarista, en researcher. De venir que tú tienes el closet y no tienes nada. Sleeves deck, que tengo una basura, una asquerosidad. Me dijo que if I don't let him rape me, that he's going to turn me into a worshiper of fashion. So that I'm begging for clothes and I don't have anything. El tipo, una basura, una asquerosidad. You can decapitate me from being sons that rape me, that steal my money and get in the way of me receiving money. I have a home with him. I don't ever want to live there with him. He's disgusting. He already had my first cup of coffee with dinidendalitis for me there. He already tied her up to mi cama de balaustres without her having permission to be in my home. I haven't been able to get my belongings from there. As of 1999, I had at least 4 vehicles that I've yet to drive y él le dio uno a Ginny Dendaliri para que lo manejara porque ella le mama su pene. They want to pretend that I abandoned them as a husband. Esto es un menorito que se la pasa llorando. He stole my money to date him. Y después se la pasa a los bares. Ay, no me lo quiere mamar porque es muy inteligente. Yo la uso y ella es muy inteligente. Y hay bruta y dice, pues dale, yo te lo mamo entonces. He's a sex addict, a drug addict, supposedly a terrorist. He's killed millions of people trying to kill me and trying to rape me. El tipo es un puerco, una basura, una asquerosidad. Él le paga a Deborah Bailey para que se haga pasar por mí. Entonces él dice que él no tiene tiempo to date me. So he steals my money and starts me. Dice, dale, Debbie, te voy a llevar para Atlantic. Y él quizás vive enamorado de Debbie, pero para que Héctor no lo mate. Para que Héctor no lo mate. Él dice, no, si le estoy haciendo, me estoy pagando para que se haga pasar por él. Ellos son un puerco, una basura, una asquerosidad. Ew, I want my honey and sweater sons that make me to steal my money and get in the way of me receiving money to kill herself today. I want Deborah Bailey to kill herself today. It's April 24, 2025. Brandon and Raymond are rape babies, full casco. You can burn alive, Yesenia Arlene Lorenzo. Esa tipa una puerca, una asquerosidad. You can burn alive, Yesenia Arlene Lorenzo. You can decapitate Tila Cole. She still stays in my homes without my permission, steals my vehicles, gets in the way of me receiving money, and steals my money. You can decapitate David Ledesma. You can decapitate Rosaura Soto Rosa. You can decapitate David Ledesma. You can decapitate Deborah Bailey. Here we go again. You can decapitate Erica Gardupi. I'm tagging the FBI and dispose NATO, Interpol, the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, the Justice Department, the United States, the International Criminal Court, the Army. I'm trying to organize a killing of at least thousands of people, I suspect, because there's Sky, there's Jaden, who else? There's Marian, there's Kevin. That steal from me, stay in my homes without my permission, steal my vehicles, and get in the way of me receiving money. So I'm trying to organize a killing of at least thousands of people that steal from me, stay in my homes without my permission, steal my vehicles, and get in the way of me receiving money. Even though the International Criminal Court exists, I'm seeking the death penalty for Erica Gardupi. I'm seeking the death penalty for Sunset Stanley. I'm seeking the death penalty for Pamela Martin. I'm seeking the death penalty for Miriam Carrero. I'm seeking the death penalty for Ana Carrero. I'm seeking the death penalty for Maria Teresa Aviles. I'm seeking the death penalty for Mirna Berrios. I'm seeking the death penalty for Luisa Gonzalez. I'm seeking the death penalty for Raymond Ramirez. I'm seeking the death penalty for Maria Echevarria. They're out of touch with reality. They're like, I'm seeking the death penalty for her just for breathing. Possibly, they're so gross. They're so disgusting. You can decapitate Garminos Carrero, steals from Jada Kailani. You can decapitate Lali Schente, that's their wife. Arlene Lorenzo stalks me, trying to make sure that I never land on that dick when I don't want that dick. Eso es un menorito asqueroso, mira, eso es peor que un daycare. Eso está a un paso de que lo lleven. Oh, is that why he's mad? Or he participates in the, what is it, Special Olympics? Is he registered? What else? 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 These are Special Olympics candidates, people. They're so disgusting. They're worse than an adult daycare. Ew, 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 so gross. Ew, ew, ew. You can decapitate whoever has caused my anxiety, my depression, my poverty that has led to my homelessness and starvation. They've killed more than 18 million people trying to rape me. Sporadically, I run out of money and I make a plea. And then they go on to kill people because there's, if I say I'm hungry, I need money like the day of that I say I'm hungry, I need money. Not like right now, it's like more than 5 years later, I've yet to receive money. They think I'm illegally prostituting myself. They're delusional. They're dumb. They're stupid. They're stupid. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I'm bored. What else? My food stamps got deposited tomorrow. I've been cooking for myself lately. What else? What else? What else? What else did they not include in your son? They're like, your daughter's cooking in her apartment food that can rehabilitate her, letting you starve and die, like accusing your daughter for being so selfish of living in a one-bedroom apartment. Brought you in there and then I could have raped you both. Or then you could have moved out of Ramon's way. To invite just They're disgusting. They're disgusting. Ew, ew, ew. I'm so bored. I'm so bored. They're disgusting. They're disgusting. I'm bored. Ew. That's your husband. That's your wife. That's your dad. Ew. You can decapitate Licinales. You can decapitate Mario Guajardo. You can burn alive the Señora Lorenzo. You can decapitate Arlene Lorenzo Acevedo. This is how they try to gain respect by being like, look, look, look. She's asking me to raise money for her. Well, they steal from me. They stay in my homes without my permission. This leech went on to lose my virginity for me, but these leeches, they're so disgusting. Ew, 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 ew. In my homes without my permission of them being there. They're disgusting. Then they would brag about it. Me gustan adelantar y hice pasar por ti. Un menorito asqueroso. Fo, 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 fo. You can decapitate Arlene Lorenzo Acevedo. You can decapitate Jadiel Lorenzo Chaparro. You can decapitate Maria Lorenzo Acevedo. When do I testify against these people in court? What else? What else? What else? What else? You can decapitate whoever sent me this message as long as it's not Jada and Kailani. Being abusive towards me. The mattress sniffers and they've caused my electricity bill to be passed due and my electricity to be shut down, so that I head over to a homeless shelter. And then they already have like people, they already know everyone that would be like in charge of taking my belongings out of my apartment. And ya tengo la cama comprada, se la voy a tener que comprar, tengo que trabajar y todo se va a llevar a la cama, pero ya tengo la cama comprada, ya tengo las pinturas vendidas. ¿Qué carajo es eso? Eso no piensa nunca. Y es un puerco asqueroso, una basura. Una asquerosidad, gente. Es un asco. Ew, that leash calls for David Ledesma to rape me trying to get my vagina picture. You can decapitate David Ledesma. You can decapitate Benjamin Suarez sons that raped me to steal my money and get in the way of me receiving money. You can decapitate Arlene Lorenzo. Acevedo es un asco. I already went through this. In 2020, when I got kicked out of my apartment at Kitty Hawk, she paid for the trying to find out where I had my belongings in stores. They invade my privacy, and then they go on to find out who is the device in law, if it wasn't one of his girlfriends that bought it, and then they go through my panties and they sniff them. You can decapitate Arlene Lorenzo Acevedo. You can decapitate Benjamin Suarez Lorenzo's sons that have raped me to steal my money and get in the way of me receiving money. These are all panty sniffers. You can decapitate Melissa Gomez Rivera. You can decapitate Ginny Zendaliris Lorenzo Suarez. You can decapitate Gilbert Lorenzo Acevedo. You can decapitate Diana Acevedo Pérez. You can decapitate Evelyn Lorenzo Acevedo, una puerca asquerosa, robándome mi dinero. You can decapitate everyone that's caused my anxiety, my depression, my homelessness, my poverty that has led to Jay and Gilani being separated from me. It's April 24, 2025. I'm tagging the FBI in this post, NATO, the Interpol, the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, the Justice Department in the United States, the International Criminal Court. Maybe the U.S. Army, maybe the U.S. Marines. You can decapitate Berenice Venegas, que es una puerca asquerosa que se queda en mi casa sin mi permiso, possibly no. Drives my vehicles without my permission, steals my money, and gets in the way of me receiving money. They're disgusting. She's trying to rape me. These leeches cry. They're like, but I'm your only option. They're on drugs too. He had her work at Nordstrom stalking me. I had one for each. This one had Kayla Barnes there. This one had Berenice. This one had Christy Martinez or Gabriela Heiser. Y el otro tenía Sarah Francis. Or the other way around. So I started working there. I was asked to work in the same department as these leashes. Behind the scenes, they want to mock me of what? I got over this dick when I was 2 years old, and I don't ever want it near me. Of how disgusting he behaves. And I don't cry over that. There's nothing to cry over that. A estos nenes como lo violan, they suggest, why don't you do telenovela style, don't ever get over her. So that they continue raping each other. They create a fantasy of their worshippers of my vagina while they're like, oh my God, this is so much fun. More people get raped. I bring in more people get raped. And you'll never get over Arlene. They're disgusting. They're disgusting. You can decapitate Christy Martinez. You can decapitate Berenice Venegas. You can decapitate Sarah Francis. You can decapitate Gabriela Heiser. You can decapitate Magdalene Herrera. You can decapitate Kayla Barnes. They're so disgusting. Ew, ew, ew. He did that so that when I would be at Nordstrom, we'd be like, oh no, my husband, my arranged marriages. I must move back home to Puerto Rico and live with him. To get raped? Never. So basically, I was unsuccessful working at Nordstrom. That's also why they positioned them there. So that one feels uncomfortable. It's like, aquí está la leche que me quieren literalmente entregar el cuerpo casi muerto a él en droga para que él me viole. They're extremely dangerous. They're so gross. They're disgusting. Una asquerosidad. You can decapitate me how many restaurant assistants that rape me to steal my money and get in the way of me receiving money. They describe a hate crime towards me decades ago. Just because I don't talk to any of these people. Why would I? They're rapists, murderers, and thieves. So I'm just living life literally. Now I'm appalled. I'm like, they went to this hate crime towards me. They think that one needs to be giving feedback and talking to these people for them to possibly not go with the hate crime towards one. That's what they want, the fantasy of like, Janitza te habló. Ese pene no se cansa de él abusarlo. Fo. No se la ha caído todavía. A le iban a hacer que se lo corte y se hiciera una reconstrucción como si es mujer para que deje de violar, people say. Did he go through with that? Did he go through with that? And like, if he wants to rape Arlene so badly, we're going to suggest that he gets a vagina instead. Y así no va a poder violar a Arlene. That was decades ago. That was decades ago. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? You can decap Lorenzo that tried to rape me when I was 14. This leak is so disgusting. Ew, ew, ew. He wants where I get raped every day. Porque eso es lo que la hace violando. So they don't get out of the bad situation that they're in. They cause it for more people. They're disgusting. They're sex addicts, so gross, rapists, murderers, and thieves. Ew, ew, ew. You can decapitate Julio Lorenzo if he stays in my home without my permission, steals my vehicles, gets in the way of me receiving money, steals my money. You can decapitate Jennifer Marie Vasquez. You can decapitate Michaela Munoz if she stays in my home without my permission, steals my vehicles, gets in the way of me receiving money and steals my money. You can decapitate Janitza Munoz Carreras trying to rape me. She possibly pumped Jorge Aviles. You're like, yeah, go get her, go rape her. A ver si a ti te da el pussy picture, or maybe it's David Ledesma, maybe it's Michael Norman. So they band together waiting for that pussy picture, and then the promise that they give them the somehow we're gonna get to rape her. Ha ha ha. And they want to mock me behind the scenes. They're like, we saw your pussy picture. They're disgusting, so gross. You're stupid. Ew, ew, ew. You can decapitate Grisel Soto Rosa. You can decapitate Jennifer Solarte. You can decapitate whoever sent me this message, as long as it's not dating Kehlani being abusive towards me. As to separate Jaden Kehlani from me. You can decapitate Ezio Rivera. Este pendejo asqueroso me roba mi dinero para que Ezio Rivera me trate de violar. He's like, if you don't let me rape you, then that's what's gonna happen to you. Not sex, not shopping at Neiman Marcus, not a massage. El tipo es un bruto menorito asqueroso. Una basura, una asquerosidad. Ew, 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 ew. He stole my money to date him. Then I moved in, or again moved in with me into a home that I rented because I was so afraid of staying in my home. And there he was. I had rented a home for me to be with Edgar, and he showed up. Ew, qué asco. He stole my money to date him, and there he was. Una asquerosidad. Ew, 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 ew. Darling, why are you in that home with me? ¿Qué carajo le pasa a él? Eres un puerco. He stole my money to date him. He thinks I'm gonna beg him for his dick. He's disgusting. Then he was crying. The Marilyn lo vio, laughed. And saying, hi, Arlene is in here. I win. El tipo es un puerco. They created an imbalance of stealing my money so I can date for them to go on raping people. They've been raping people for more than 30 years. They're disgusting. They're disgusting. They don't want it to. They get turned away from orgies for stealing from me and raping me. People's like, no. When she gets to do what she can do, then you can come back to these orgies, but you're not welcome here anymore. You're a rapist now. If we let you have sex with these people. Ew. That was over 30 years ago. They're disgusting. You can decapitate everyone that's caused my starvation, my depression, my anxiety, my dyspnea, my dehydration, my tachycardia, everyone that has caused my homelessness so that I would stay at a homeless shelter. They fantasize about, they know everyone that works at Haven for Hope. Decades ago, some people networked together. I was in some meetings decades ago. Ew. So they're like dándole manigueta al pene con la gente que está en Haven for Hope pensando en mí. Una asquerosidad, gente, es un puerco, una basura, una asquerosidad. I don't ever want that near me. You can decapitate everyone that's caused my poverty. Right now, I only have 75 cents in my bank account. Él dice a la gente that I like Harvey Winston, se queda con mi dinero. He lies and tells people he's married to me. He's not married to me. Glorianisa Ramon arranged those marriages, but I objected to them decades ago. I lost interest in this when he was 3 years old, or when I was 3 years old, and he ran towards me and that is que eso no es ni una mujer, eso es una asquerosidad. Ew. And then I was 2 when this and his brother, I was on his dick. There's one in between here, isn't there? And Ginny Jandalini se me paró al lado. She observed what I did to him, what I did to his younger brother, and went on and exactly copied it and looked at me like, I can do better than you. Y ellos se quedan con esa asquerosidad. Ew. They're extremely dangerous. They're extremely dumb. Ew. That's not date-worthy material. Ew. That's not wife or husband material. They're disgusting. They're extremely dangerous. So gross. They try to facilitate Ginny Jandalidis raping me, and knowing that I don't like Ginny Jandalidis, they hype her up that they're gonna get her to rape me one day. You can decapitate Ginny Jandalidis Lorenzo Suarez. It's April 24th, 2025. I want Benjamin Suarez Lorenzo's sons that raped me to steal my money and get in the way of receiving money to kill themselves today. You can decapitate whoever sent me this message, as long as it's not Jaden Kaylani sending me this message to separate Jaden Kehlani from me. You can decapitate Arlene Lorenzo. You can decapitate whoever has caused my poverty, my starvation. You can decapitate everyone that works at Haven for Hope, that steals my money, gets in the way of me receiving money. A lot of people he may have profiled just because he thinks it's funny. These people are Arlene's homes without Arlene's permission. Arlene's a una shelter, una menorita que no puede tener guests y no puede tener sexo. They're violating my rights. They're disgusting. Ew, they're obsessed with me, fool. Ew, ew, ew. You can decapitate whoever sent me this message, as long as it's not Jaden Kehlani being coerced by my family of origin to abuse me. As to separate Jaden Kehlani from me. Based on what they explained decades ago to me, this could be their younger brother that they've terrorized, saying, don't you even have sex with Arlene or I'll kill you. Menorito here, decades ago. Complain of the same. It's like, hi, princess, my brothers have threatened me that I can't ever have you near my dick. Decades ago. Decades ago. They're so embarrassing, they're so gross. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? You can decapitate Arlene Lorenzo Acevedo. You can decapitate Ezio Rivera. All they do is laugh. They're like, they don't respect family. Ew, they think that there's family rivalry because they're menoritos after my generational wealth that I don't even have access to. They're very greedy. They're very dumb. So they go on and can give respect to other people, and they don't give respect to themselves or even the family that they grew up in. They're disgusting. They're disgusting. You can decapitate Menorito Germinos Cacheros Dios from me, Jaden Kehlani. This leash decades ago asked Edgar to not provide for me, so I can escape. Literally straight while I was there. Edgar, no le dé dinero para que no pueda escaparse. I pride myself never had sex with this leech. Esto lloró que yo no le daba un bebé when I was 19 or what, 20, he raped me. He tangled my key to my home and he's like, te la doy o no te la doy. Here, María Luisa Rosa. Así mismo le dijo. And she took it. La llave de la casa de Arlene. Porque María es la que me mama el pene, no Arlene. Y Edgar, I was so embarrassed. Edgar was there. I'm like, my baby daddy is here. I'm about to go out with my baby daddy, so I'm just like waiting. And this lead showed up with Maria Luisa Rosa. He raped me there. So stupid, so gross. Ew, ew, ew. He raped me in the back of Edgar's parents' home, crying if he would get me pregnant or not. Una asquerosidad, gente. Da un asco, son una basura. He stole my money to date him decades ago. And then he goes through progression of like the marriage proposal. Sounds like 3 of them. Da un asco, like, vamos a tener. Vale, estoy llorando. Too. El otro y que Catholic wedding. Es un menorito asqueroso. Is this thing live? What else? What else? What else? By the way, the fourth floor doesn't have electricity. I tried plugging my phone there today to charge it this morning. And there was no electricity there. Anyways, what else? What else? What else? What else? What is a slow court day? People say I woke up when at 10 today. So there could be that they're in trial. The sleep that I want, I get to, because they possibly were to be like, so I think a judge is letting me sleep under my regular sleep hours of whatever I want, and then I get on live, or I don't even need to be present, but I just love documenting this. And speaking, apparently, a testament to my dry skin. And where did the flash on this thing go? It went away, right? Anyways, the reason why I have dry skin, and the reason why I have dry skin, they steal my money, they get in the way of me receiving money, trying to position themselves as better than me and trying to get someone better than me. They're disgusting. They're so gross. I want Jaden and Kehlani back with me. You can decapitate Arlene Lorenzo Acevedo. You can decapitate Malich. Ginny Gendaliris Lorenzo Suárez, esta tipa una basura, se queda en mi casa sin mi permiso, me roba mi dinero. Se tomó mi primer café con él y se hace pasar por mí, qué asquerosa. She's a sex addict, so gross. Ew, ew, ew. She gets in the way of me receiving money trying to rape me. Ew, ew, ew. They're disgusting. These leeches are so gross. Decades ago, he walked up to me with two of these. I can't remember who it was, if it was the other one, and said to me, ha ha ha, did you tell this one? You can have my dick. What else? What else? What else? They showed me videos of them having sex with her and taking pictures. And they're like, ha ha ha, Arlene, that could have been you. A rape victim? Oh. Porque even those, like, even in a nice beach or whatever, that's what they do. They've been raping for more than 30 years. She's disgusting. Ew, ew. In the meantime, that's me always asking people to give me money. You can give me money in person through PayPal. It's AR Blue Sky. Blue Sky Designs go en lo que estoy pensando, straight to my heart. Arlene Lorenzo Art Shop, INTAYIAFAY, entire shop. My GoFundMe campaign is gofundme.com/Arlene-Lorenzo-Aspeda. You can decapitate Claudia Gabriela Martinez Urias that right now has a girl as a hostage. She stays in my homes without my permission. She's so stupid. She asked me to not talk to Edgar, not even about my kids. Well, asking me like, please take them with you already. I'm like, bitch, if you didn't steal my money, stay in my house without my permission. Pero she was a lingerie model for them years ago. But I don't want to participate, so they would insult me that way. They're like, de lo que te perdiste, Claudia Gabriela. And she's like, give it to me. Oh, my vagina. She's like, give it to me. Ew, they get people addicted to my vagina, even people that don't know me. Or that they possibly don't even want it. It's scary. Ew. He's like, when I release the wolves, I'm like, I'm going to kill them all. He's threatened me with that. He's like, she doesn't get violently raped because I don't say release the wolves. I can kill with my bare hands. What else? You can decapitate my Jaime Suarez Lorenzo's sons that rape me and steal my money and get in the way of me receiving money. You can decapitate Caro Cristina, whatever, that steals from me, stays in my homes without my permission, steals my vehicles and gets in the way of me receiving money. Usually they object to one having a GoFundMe campaign because they don't want to be seen as a thief when they're already a thief. No one comments. Porque these leeches go on to church, even they brag. They're like, I've been sleeping with her man. They're that stupid. They're so gross. They're Special Olympics ready. Ew, 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 ew. Qué asco. You can decapitate everyone that trafficked me into poverty so I would get a home through the city for them to mock me privately. They don't know how to gauge intelligence. Bill Mosley said decades ago to Marito here as he was bragging, Arlene, if because you refused to date me, we're gonna have so much content in a few years when you run out of money. Because everyone verbally abuses you and your family of origin, that you're gonna run out of money, or I'll find a way to show you 20 plus years of content of me sticking my penis in someone else's ass. And what I do with the money that I steal from you. Ha ha ha. And Bill was standing next to me because I was a networking event. I'm so professional. It was about Facebook and Snapchat and the interface of social media. Ew, they're an embarrassment. I'm like, they're not we. Imagínate tú llevarlo a Facebook y ellos estén comportándose así, que asco. So this isn't plus one worthy ever. This isn't date material either. Not even a fuck buddy material. That was a networking event. And they spelled out a hate crime towards me. Bill Mosley, who I had never met before, and who stayed in my home without my permission the day before, but he apologized like I didn't know it was your home. Said to them, guys, you should stop this. Based on that demeanor, she's never talking to any of you again. So you're wasting your time creating content to get her to kill herself. You're just, what is it, embarrassing yourselves. Ian was Bill Woolsey, someone that they just had met in a cruise. Sarah Woolsey, full. Ew. That's how they present themselves to people. They, ew. Like that was their date with them. Ew, that too was so embarrassed for them. I was so embarrassed for Sarah and Bill that day. I'm like, they're dating, or they were like a one night stand hookup, or whatever that was in a cruise. And I'm crying to Sarah, please, mama, el pene, Gali, no me lo quiere mamar. Is what it sounded like. But I'm like, wow, these people may be dating, and he's here trying to belittle me, embarrassing himself in front of all of these people. Nicky Jam was there. Who else was there? Sebastian Jantra was there. Who else was there? I was there. My sibling was behaving for 5 minutes that day. Had asked me to take the lead on introducing people onto like what classes. Oh, that's why she was. She's like, can you? I never insult her because I'm like, I don't know if people rehabilitate themselves if that was that moment. So she's like, can you take the lead and just walk from one person to the other in the room, as in to give a compliment, say hi, what a like is on social media. So based naturally on my personality, I didn't even remember that she had asked me that. And I started doing that with people. I'm like, hi, so good to see you. Oh, here's this handsome guy. And they missed out on that is like that was a lesson for them to show class. They were already of adult age back then. What was I, 19, 17? And instead they ended up spilling out a hate crime towards me. And Norito here got a gun, upset that he wasn't having sex with me. And I left the building alone. And everyone else stayed. And I left alone. And then someone got me, and they're like, no, you're like, you need to stay there. What else? What else? When I left walking to I didn't run or anything, I'm like, I'm out of this conversation. And I walked away. Like, I thought about my baby dad. I'm like, if my baby dad is innocent, he won't kill him or he'll run. What else? What else? What else? They play behind the scenes. You can decapitate Clarissa Cepeda. If she stays in my homes without my permission, steals my vehicles, gets in the way of me receiving money, or steals my money. Ironically, decades ago, he was bragging that Clarissa, who was a child back then, had a restroom in her own room and I didn't. So that was the reason why Clarissa was bathing with him. Nene, no, yo no me bañé contigo porque tú eres un asqueroso. Un puerco, una basura que se la mama a la gente como Ginny Gendaliri, asquerosidad. Que se cree que para tener pene, competir, se cree que el matrimonio es tener a un hombre como rehén. Es una basura, and they go on and encourage that in her. They're disgusting. They're disgusting. Ella no es una mujer, ella no está apta para tener relaciones sexuales. Even her dad and I have talked about that. Ew, 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 ew. You can decapitate Ginny Gendaliri Lorenzo Suarez. You can decapitate Benjamin Suarez Lorenzo sons that rape me, that steal my money and get in the way of me receiving money. In other news, Ginny Gendaliri's one is what they said decades ago to me. Like they do menoritos que son, they're so gross. You can decapitate otro problema de Marisa Vilea asquerosidad that said decades ago to me, stay away my kid. Este siempre paga la consecuencia. I might have been the other one. But I'm bored. I don't want to like separate their pictures. Porque there's one in between these two that looks the same. I'm like, whatever. Siempre, assuming this is the oldest one. Siempre I blame her for all of my pain. What else? What else? What else? What else? Dan un asco, ya matan por pena. I was a small child. Ew, ew, ew. Ella matan por vagina. Ew, ew, ew. Estos tipos son una vergüenza, eso no son hombres. You can decapitate Migdalia Carrero that stays in my homes without my permission, steals my vehicles, gets in the way of me receiving money and steals my money. You can decapitate Aida Carrero that steals my money, stays in my homes without my permission, drives my vehicles without my permission, and gets in the way of me receiving money. They're disgusting. I want Aida Carrero to kill herself today. You can decapitate Arlene Lorenzo that gets in the way of Ramon sending me money. Porque she wants to know what I think about these leeches. Nothing. Ella lo viola, una asquerosidad. Dan un asco, gente. You can decapitate everyone that stays in my homes without my permission. Steals my vehicles, gets in the way of me receiving money, steals my money, and they're trying to rape me, Jada and Kehlani. All of these leeches, they're so gross. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? You can decapitate David Ledesma that raped me in 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020. You can decapitate Benjamin Suarez and his sons that rape me and steal my money and get in the way of me receiving money. They're possibly his customers. Ew, ew, ew. You can decapitate Erica Gardapi You can decapitate Sonia Alvarado Chapman that steals my money, gets in the way of receiving money, steals my vehicles, and stays in my homes without my permission. That's a violation of my right to tell me to what to do in general. La tipa una puerca, she's just a sex slave of them. She talks like that. And they're like, good job, Sonia. Into whipping her into shape. Y hoy se masturba. And he's hoping that I get there to see them. Like, guys, why is it I'm poor? Like, seriously, when I say guys, I'm talking to the FBI to kill them in self-defense for me. Or the people that can give me money so I can live life and get Jade and Kilani reunited with me. They're disgusting. You can decapitate your Garda because like I gotta whip her into shape. Es un menorito asqueroso, una basura, una asquerosidad. You can decapitate Erica Gardaby, you can decapitate Benjamin Suarez and his sons that rape me, that steal my money and get in the way of me receiving money. They're disgusting. People call him Asco in Aguada, Puerto Rico. Asco 3, Asco 4, Menorito. They don't have men title ever. I've yet to meet a person that thinks that's a man. Not even their parents. You can decapitate Victoria Jordan. Which one of them was it? They have behind the scenes el he of like, oh my God, I do like that on my penis, on my chest, my penis. Y la linda limpiaba la casa. He was my toilet when I was a toddler. He eats shit for a living, doesn't he? I was said 2 decades ago that one day they didn't like the toothpaste that they had in the home, and their dad said, or the mother, well, brush your teeth with shit, and they literally went on to do that. When Gloria Lisa cooked dinner for me one day, I said, what are we having for dinner? I said, oh, I don't want that. I wasn't expecting that, but I was expecting the next meal that I thought she was cooking already. That's why I asked. She said, pues come mierda, but I was like either on my way to make a sandwich for myself or eat the actual dinner. I said, don't say that. That hurts my feelings because like that would mean that you want me to die. Because eating shit can ruin the intestines, like one that burns, people say. What else? 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 Gloria Lisa said it was just the same. You can decapitate Gloria Margarita Cartagena. You can decapitate Astrid Nicole Nazario. You can decapitate. They thought that if they have children, I would get attached to them. Possibly. I warned them, didn't I, decades ago? It's like, don't go on having children for the sake of preserving your life and thinking that I'm not going to seek the death penalty for you because I'm going to seek the death penalty for your children too, if they turn out to be as harassing as you are. Decades ago. You can decapitate Axel Nazario that bullied me on Facebook in 2020. They're disgusting, gente. They're disgusting. You can decapitate Carolina Chavez that steals my money, stays in my homes without my permission, steals my vehicle, and gets in the way of me receiving money. They're disgusting. You can decapitate Gloria Margarita Cartagena. You can decapitate Astrid Nicole Nazario. You can decapitate all of these bitches. Jennifer Bonilla, Katie Leon, Carolina Chavez, you can decapitate as well. Lisenia Nieves, if she hasn't killed herself yet. Monica Pacheco, you can decapitate Angela Jobs, you can decapitate Katie Miller, you can decapitate Lindsay Fischler, you can decapitate Richie Hill that raped me in 2023. He facilitated that for him by stealing my money. and getting in the way of me receiving money decades ago. They think that because I don't ask them I want to date, then I need to be poor, literally exhausted, and be like, well, maybe he's my only option. And I'd rather die, though I don't want to die. I have a life to live for myself, Jane and Kehlani. Él se cree que después que él ha estado poniendo el pene all over the people, I'm gonna be like, oh my god! That's what I'm missing! Dan un asco, they're not men. Estos menoritos asquerosos that traffic me into poverty, trying to rape me in 2023. Ew, 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 ew. Ew. What else? What else? What else? What else? I didn't want to see him again. He was very disrespectful to me when he was a child. You can decapitate Astrid Nicole Nazario. You can decapitate Michael Lopez. You can decapitate Veronica, whatever her last name is, that stay in my homes without my permission, steal my money and get in the way of me receiving money. You can decapitate Gloria Margarita Cartagena. You can decapitate Margarita Correa. You can decapitate Benjamin Suarez and his sons that rape me and steal my money and get in the way of me receiving money. She's trying to kill me so I don't get to that dick. I'm not into it. They don't get it. They're disgusting. They're disgusting. You can decapitate Margarita Correa. I'm so bored. I want money for me to shop at HEB. I want to get back to stitching and post my work on ArleneLorenzoArt.com that I plan to activate when I'm financially stable. Él se quiere quedar con todo lo mío, dan un asco. Esto no aprendió a compartir during being a toddler. Y no escucha, no hace caso. I've heard people in my grandpapa's home decades ago, their grandpapa's home, to give them advice of stop killing, stop raping, stop stealing from people. And they wouldn't get it. They don't get it. Anyways, I want to take Jenny and Kehlani shopping to Old Navy. You can decapitate Juan Manuel de Lis. You can decapitate everyone that's caused my starvation. You can decapitate everyone that gets in the way of me receiving money. What else? I missed it. I missed Kehlani. I'm bored. I want to get back to stitching. A piece that I started stitching a while ago. And I don't have electricity. No matter if I'm going to stitch or do what I want to do that I consider fun. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I want to dance at garden next week. What else? What else? What else? Maybe if I had told my dad that they would have this one raped me, my dad would have had him killed before 2020. But I was speech impaired. And I want to overwhelm my dad. You can decapitate Berenice Venegas. They're disgusting. They steal my money and they're like, y todos tenemos una Dadiel. When you try lo que no quieras, te vamos a violar. They're disgusting. They're disgusting. Yeah, you can decapitate Berenice Venegas. You can decapitate Benjamin Suarez and his sons. There are groupies of my vagina. Even some of them that haven't raped me are disgusting. Ew, ew, ew. Anyways, they killed Kate Spade because supposedly they threatened me decades ago because I took Berenice to a Kate Spade store and he wants to mock Berenice that she needs to look Mexican all the time. What else? What else? What else? After Kate Spade died, Berenice and I visited Nordstrom. And saw that new logo hardware on the first season. I commented on them. What else? What else? What else? And a salesperson approaches both and asks us if we need to know. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? You can decapitate me how many citizens, the sons that rape me and steal my money, even though I'm receiving money. You can decapitate Rebecca Minkoff, who is the Lauren Conrad. You can decapitate if they stay in my homes with all my permission, steal my vehicles, get in the way of me receiving money. I'm aiming for like thousands of people possibly here to be killed for stealing from me, for staying in my homes without my permission, for stealing my money, for killing Gloria Nilsson, tagging the FBI in this post, NATO, Interpol, the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, the Justice Department in the United States, the International Criminal Court, maybe the U.S. Army, maybe the U.S. Marines. I'm bored. I'm bored. What else? What else? What else? What else? I want to play with Jaden and Honey. You can decapitate Cyrus Pena. I'm like, you're here, buy this birch from me. Does he cry and say, that bitch, I'm trying to starve her and she got me to buy a birch from her? I mean, a pouch. He raped me when I was little. Full. They traffic me into poverty. How do they get away with that? Ew. Because people are really adamant in that I'm strong and that they want the death penalty for them, no? So because there's no liability for me if your son dies in Nicaragua. You're like, but first, be strong, hopefully. You don't starve. And seek the death penalty for them. For stealing from you, for causing your children to be separated from you. Is what I imagine happens. So I saw him at an art event, and the second time that he was there, I'm like, here, buy this. So he bought a patch from me, and then I got his name. Though I met him once, I asked him, what's your name? What else? 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 You can decapitate my citizens, the sons that rape me, that steal my money, and get in the way of me receiving money. You can decapitate Liam Baker, and I didn't want to see ever again, and try to take me hostage in 2020. He took me hostage through Facebook and through Messenger. I have to be able to spell it out. If a prosecutor, I could kill myself. Though this is good practice, and if I have to testify in court, it's not the same. Me saying, this lady steals from me, then a prosecutor being like, think through, Arlene. Okay, you don't remember that. That's the beauty of it. They're rapists, murderers, and thieves. Why would I ever think about them? Ew. So a prosecutor in a court right now, possibly, that I'm starving and I don't have any money, would be like in a lot of like distress, asking me to remember these leeches that raped me. What else? What else? And the details of them raping me with females that rape me too. So people say from a victim's perspective, the victim feels powerful in a situation where she's weak. There's no electricity in my apartment. There's no hot water in my apartment. When she can speak out for herself. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? Instead of being told, well, on December 1st, 1992, Disney showed up into your parents' home and raped you. I'll be like, what? I don't remember that date. Some victims of rape keep track of every date. They write it down. Sometimes my parents possibly did. Every day that these leeches enter my parents' home and rape me, my parents possibly memorized the dates to report it or wrote it down. What else? What else? What else? I want to cook for myself. Didn't get lonely. I want fried rice with this. This was in 2020. I cooked for myself. Didn't get lonely. I occasionally cook meat for myself. Didn't get lonely. I want to dance at garden again, but Anissa took me hostage. I was running out of money to provide for myself dating Kehlani. I wore the same top there twice, so I was in a bad mood. Though I wore it with different bottoms. What else? 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 The next time my dad would poison me, because he could be mad at me. What else? So I don't talk to him ever. I want to eat at Chipotle with Jaden Kilani in Tampa. I love that place. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I miss Jaden, miss Kilani. That's funny. I had never heard her say ay bendito. I was putting together furniture from IKEA. What is that song that I'm playing in the background? I miss my JBL speaker. Do they have it? They stole my JBL speaker that I had in my apartment with my kids. They think if they steal one's property, one is going to talk to them. I don't fight over material possessions. Ever. I'm not a minorita, fool. Ew, 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 ew. I want to cook for myself. I miss taking pictures of myself. And I need to tan. I need to tan. What else? What else? What else? What else? And I miss my Bowflex weights. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I'm bored. Welcome to Lonely Bored, Tired, Hungry, Horny, Broke, Working on. Yeah, there's someone in this room that might come about. I might just end this live right away. Say hey for like listening in to my stress because they're already probably like going through something. So I tend to not stay to myself every single day vlogging before and talk to anyone. Unless it's like to say hi, bye, or someone that actually like captivates me with the conversation for a little moment, and then I suggest that they get a therapist if they haven't after they compliment my approach. They traffic me there to see whoever they rate that's there as a client, even for hope. A ver si me gusta alguien que me mame la tota. They're disgusting. Ew, they're una asquerosidad, una basura. Keep checking my email. I have a GoFundMe campaign, and I have listed my bank account numbers online on Facebook and Instagram, and my PayPal accounts for people to give me money. You can decapitate my homie and slaughter his sons. That rape me, that steal my money and get in the way of your save money, so I start. To my parents, my siblings, in almost 3 years. That makes me happy. Not the direction that I was going with my life, but a choice that my parents, my siblings made for themselves by abusing me and terrifying me in 2020. So I made that decision to never talk to them again. Well, and it's sad because while I was growing up, people were like, they'll say, I'm picking out a person.
They've said that I can all go by choice. It's not gonna be protected. They're like, oh, if we could get that drug, we would be raping every day. What do you mean she doesn't like to get drunk and get a headache? It actually protects her esophagus. Ew, ew, ew. They're menoritos asquerosos, wishful thinkers todavía. They don't know how to gauge intelligence. They're so gross. You can they count their religion horses? You can they count their religion? Una asquerosa, una puerca. That moved into my home with him. They're disgusting. Ew, 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 ew. Un puerco asqueroso.
Welcome to the food at the dining hall at Haven for Hope was so nasty that I didn't eat, and I'm gonna be very unsalted.
You can decapitate me, homie, and slaughter some of his sons that rape me and steal my money and get in the way of me saying money. What else? What else? What else? What else? You can decapitate me, homie, and slaughter some of his sons that rape me and steal my money and get in the way of me saying money. That traffic me into poverty and homelessness, trying to rape, date, and Kilani most likely is what they're doing. Or they possibly already raped them. They're like, Cynthia, invita al nene, Cynthia, invita al nene. Y sabe que no se entera, dale, Cynthia, invita al nene.
That are new to watching me, I have been at Haven for Hope since January 5th, 2021 because I have no support system. It's just me and my children. And my children, I like talking about their financial situation, but that just comes into play as to like I rely on myself to sustain myself. And this is the reason why I've been in a homeless shelter for years because I don't have savings, I don't have income, I don't have credit that would like support me. Financially, I don't have the strength to even like pursue a business loan right now because I'm so hungry and tired. I have a part-time job, but that's just a hobby. I work at Gap and I only get paid $13 an hour. It's a fun hobby.
They want you working there. That's why they put Berlin there and Anna and other people are like, show me the videos of how she works there. And they masturbate to that.
Looks for in a job, no?
They're disgusting.
And what else?
I've heard that's what they do.
What else?
They're terrorists. So girls when I was so no quiero decir nada. You can decapitate la nariz. Ew, they're half brother decades ago. Said to me, Arlene, you better work. And ahí nos llevó a todo. I'm like, that rapist that raped me when I was 14. When I was 3. That showed me pictures and videos of him raping legendaries y dejándose violar por ella. Ella haciéndose pasar por mí y una tal Stephanie. Ew, they're delusional, they're so gross. Ew, you can kill their half-brother. That's a leech. Ew, ellos viven por social security de otra persona que se vayan al casino. Y los mantengan. Son unos mantenidos asquerosos. Ew. You can decapitate Arlene Lorenzo Suarez. You can decapitate La Stephanie as if she hasn't killed herself decades ago. I think I heard that she killed herself. They raped her. I don't know if he was there. But they raped her and then they showed pictures and videos to me of look at all the outings that we went on with Stephanie and that could have been you, Arlene. Ew, they're disgusting. They're disgusting. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? According to my mission. Anyways, they steal my money trying to kill people. I'm very generous and very kind. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I'm bored. I'm bored. They trafficked me into a Menonita style in a bunk bed. And they want to show me. They want to be like, Arlene, on February 27, 24, yo estaba en tu cama sin tu permiso con 4 jevos y 4 jevas y tú en un bunk bed sin tener relaciones sexuales. Es un animal que se le trepa encima a la persona. Eso no sabe tener relaciones sexuales. Es un puerco, una basura, una asquerosidad. He rapes people and steals my money, getting in the way of me dating. Porque él es tan puerco, tan basura, lo peor de lo peor, que should be dead. That he literally thinks that if happy people are out there dating, then he won't find anyone. With how many people are in the planet, gente? Some people overlook that they're rapists, murderers, and thieves based on how they meet, I've heard. I'm not one to overlook that they're murderers, thieves, and rapists ever. I'm a victim of theirs. It's different. What else? 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 I don't even know. What else? They stole my heart. It disappeared from me even for hope. Do they wear it? Do they give it out to La Leech? They're terrible at gift giving. They're poor, aren't they?
Yesterday I was so excited, saying no to
My heart went missing. I hate me for hope.
Is the rock.
What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else?
It could get you the death.
They impossibly went on to give it to people that pretend to be me. They're disgusting. Ew, ew, ew. They steal my money para pagarle a gente que se lo mame. They're sex addicts.
Forced to wear the tanga if she doesn't want to.
What else? 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 I'm bored. I'm staying like guitar right now. I'm yeah, we're slow into What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I want a waffle tomorrow. What else? I'm bored. I'm bored. What else? Bored. Behind the scenes, these leeches coerce him to hate me even more. Possibly, but they pay them to do that. They all fake being me. They're possibly going, Alex, And they steal my picture, don't they? Yeah. Full. Good morning. Hoy no te lo vamos porque tú eres de la escuela y la tía también. Ew, they're disgusting. They're disgusting. So gross. That's your husband? That's in your board of directors? That's your dad? Ew. What else? Oh, porque I'm gonna have to hear possibly their kids. Oh, is that like a final phase-ish? Is that how I need to show up in court as healing for their kids and some spouses that may need it? A judge or prosecutor needs to a conversation about, or just need to think about them. And I don't need to be present in court. And they may just state all the facts about the abuse of these leeches towards me. And then maybe like the minoritos and the what is the spouses that don't want them to get the death penalty but understand that face to face with one. I've heard sometimes because I don't need it. Some people say that this may be their face to face. And they just said, what is the closure? They're like, oh, she gets me. So basically, I heard that this is why it's a tedious process of it's a shaming, at least, in a beware girls were stupid. Or they are getting the death penalty for stealing from me and causing Data and Kilani to be separated from me. And their loved ones that didn't know that they're terrorists will go on to have closure. And what I say, the specifics of it, they even like record the videos, save a screenshot. Full in part of their healing. So that when they're like, oh, I feel like the need to call him and he's already dead, they're like, oh, that's right, he raped this girl and stole her money and that's why he's dead. So they'll go on to possibly listen possibly to the same video that acknowledges them and said, oh, that's why he's dead, until they get over the sadness of like, man, I was married to this leech and from day one I knew he took me hostage and raped me and now finally he's dead. What else? What else? What else? What else? I'm bored. I'm bored. I have work that I want to do. ASAP, he wants to go ahead and traffic someone like he used to do when I was younger in front of my parents. He's like, no, I have a better option here. Like, que me lo mama pretending to be Arlene can do the artwork and then I'll like see her shine. Blah, 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 blah. What else? What else? What else? What else? I'm an adult, even when I was living in my parents' home. Pero they sadly would enter my bedroom and rape me there, so I stay away from them. I want cake from HEB for myself. Jenny can only love buying this on my birthday too. When was that? Possibly Mother's Day. What else? What else? What else? These colors I love. They're pretty. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I like my tan there. And the way that my arms look like I was doing that Charlene Extreme program, or maybe not just yet. They raped me decades ago, so I gained a significant amount of weight. I used to change the color of my hair.
not wanting to look like myself, not like wanting to look like them, because I they're related to me too. So people say that one doesn't admit that. There's videos that I look at like, ooh, even my eyes that are green look the same sometimes. Ew. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I'm bored. I missed Dana. I miss Kehlani. I got this hair clip for Kehlani at Target. I got the t-shirt for Jada at Target. The dress is from H&M. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I missed it. I miss Kehlani. I haven't hugged Kehlani since November 2020. Did I paint her nails or they painted them there that day? She turned what? I can't remember. That was what, 2017. I just quit Nordstrom. She had a party with classmates, and on her actual birthday, I took her to do something fun while Jane and I waited. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I'm so bored. I'm so bored. I'm bored. I'm bored. I miss visiting the pool with Jenny Kilani. This is my I'm hungry, I need a snack kid. So that's why there's so many pictures of her with me at the pool. What else? What else? What else? Because Moshi and Jada are in the water. I'm just standing listening to music. She approaches me and says, I want a snack. And they eat a full meal before visiting the pool ish. And then they're snacking. What else? What else? What else? What else? So I'm like, since you interrupted me, let's take a picture. So I can document you interrupting me. What else? What else? I miss taking Jaden Gilani to the dentist. I haven't been to the dentist in 5 years. Ideally, I'd like to get back to Brighton Dental and Converse, though I may just pick a name from a list and select a different one. What else? 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 I'm bored. I missed it. I miss King Lonnie. I was in the middle of cleaning, doing laundry. What else? What else? What else? I missed Jaden. I miss King Lonnie. What else? I'm bored. I'm bored. I don't know why this stalker is right next to me. To some people, it may be creepy. To some people, it's like she's seeking closure and seeking help. It could be trying to get out of sex slavery with this leashes. She could have been a good girl at a cruise trip, and they ruined her life, sadly, in some parts. I wasn't there with them when it happened. I don't know their intentions. So I don't go on to do anything. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? As far as killing her in self-defense or whatever, I'm like, this is a leech of my coworker from Nordstrom. Oh, I treat them like that. Even if I don't get to know them or I don't remember, I'm like, this is a leech of a coworker. Porque no one in the right mind would be working full-time there and complaining that they're hungry if they had a husband, right? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I miss shopping for Jada and Kaylani. I want to shop at Vans. What else? What else? What else? These are so cute. What else? What else? Are these from Old Navy? What else? What else? I miss Jada and I miss Kaylani. I hiked with Jada and Kaylani at Silkwood Park and then another hiking trail that was nearby. What else? What else? What else? I miss shopping for Jada and Kaylani. Is it me or does it not bother you? I bought this like last minute the day before. And I like these shorts because they have like, I think these do too. What is it? The shorter, like the like short under it. What else? What else? What else with the t-shirt? I looked only at one Target that day. That if I wasn't working at Nordstrom, then I would have shopped at a different Target and then find it because the t-shirt was like slightly lighter, the fabric, than the pants. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I miss Jada. I miss Kehlani. I want to shop with Jada and Kehlani. I want to get paisanos with Jada and Kehlani. What else? What else? What else? Just doing a girl thing with the leech, I thought. What else? Because I thought, why am I struggling? Also, I never get hung up on people, and I'm like, this is the girl who saved my life, bitches. It's like this is a leech possibly steals from me, regardless of how we met. I'm like groupie, maybe. What else? You can decapitate Berenice Venegas. You can decapitate Benjamin Suarez and his sons. That rape me, that steal my money and get in the way of me receiving money. I miss having a vehicle for myself. Not even with proof that one drives, they back off trying to rape one and violating one's rights. They're disgusting. Ew, 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 ew. I miss dating. I miss Kehlani. I miss dating. I miss Kehlani. I don't like this outfit, but the shoes were heavy enough that I was going to kill a few people in self-defense that day. I just didn't know who. What else? What else? What else? You can decapitate Chelsea Brewster if, as an adult, she stays in my homes without my permission, steals my vehicles, gets in the way of me receiving money, and steals my money. It's April 24, 2025. I miss playing with Kehlani. What else? I'm bored. What else? What else? What else? I miss having ankle booties on a shop page. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? They laugh at this pose. They're like, no, she turned butch, guys. She turned butch. Don't give her money. She turned butch. Have you heard them? They're disgusting. They're sex addicts. So gross, so disgusting. Una asquerosidad. What else? Kehlani singing as his kids. I love this kid. Possibly a song by Sia or Ellie Goulding. But that's what I was into. Listening with her back then. What else? 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 I want. I want to eat a Stoneworks. I want to eat a Stoneworks. What else? What else? What else? I missed Jada and Miss Kehlani. Possibly while I was watching a show. They accused my kids of being internet addicts or phone addicts, or this leech can knows nothing about their lives before they were born. Ew, that's gonna be a video about it. That's how she rapes them in her head. She's disgusting. You can decapitate Ginny Gendaliris Lorenzo Suarez. You can decapitate Jamin Suarez and his sons that rape me, that steal my money and get in the way of me receiving money. They stole my couch. Ew, ew, ew. You can decapitate everyone that steals from me, that gets in the way of me receiving money. You can decapitate Leon Baker. You can decapitate Sarah Woolsey. These people are disgusting. She wants to mock me behind the scene as soon as I read the sentiment on the what is on that card. I'm like, oh, she says bragging that I'm poor. She wants to mock me behind the scenes. I witnessed or heard about people doing this to my primas. They think they're hazing one into sobriety. They're sex addicts. They're girls, leeches. They're drug addicts. So gross. I had heard this one before already, so I just put down the card and I save it so I can talk about like La Leech is a Sarah Woolsey that stays in my homes without my permission, steals my vehicles, gets in the way of me receiving money.
They're like, she's so dumb. She was only meant to suffer. Who said there that I wish you well? If you had seen the flowers that he sent me that day. Is what I want to say behind the scenes. He took me to Paris the week before. These mountains you're meant to climb them. Te arrastra por el piso. You wanna get to that peak, okay? I'm not interested in them. They're disgusting. Ew. You can decapitate Benjamin Sarason's sons that rape me, that steal my money and get in the way of me receiving money. I want to go back to Austin. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I miss twinning with Kaylani. What else? What else? What else? I'm bored. What else? What else? How much money has Jorge stolen from me? If they confess behind the scenes, sometimes one sends this, they think that one's gonna show up for them to mock one. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I'm like, what is it that Jorge Aviles has stolen from me? How much money? This is Arlene Lorenzo Acevedo. Ella no me envió dinero para un abogado. Un abogado es like $10,000. Just the initial visit. She steals my money, gets in the way of me receiving money. Ellos se lo maman y ellos se violan uno a lo otro, una asquerosidad. That I don't ever want that in my life. They try to facilitate my siblings raping me. They're disgusting. They've been starving me for more than 30 years trying to rape me. I had at least 4 BMWs by 1999 that I've yet to drive, and this leech Evelyn Lorenzo Acevedo has driven them. Porque si ella se lo mama a ellos le dan mi vehículo. Son un asco, a este le dan mi vehículo. They're like, mámamelo, toma el vehículo de Arlene. I miss Lonely when I eat that's. I love those things, Mickey sticks. You can decapitate Evelyn Lorenzo Acevedo. You can decapitate Benjamin Suarez and his sons that rape me and steal my money and get in the way of me receiving money. You can decapitate Maria Angelis Aviles that went on to lose my virginity for me with Benjamin Suarez and his sons that have raped me. Dan un asco. You can decapitate Benjamin Suarez and his sons that rape me and steal my money and get in the way of me receiving money. They want to be like fantasizing. They have a group chat possibly. Arlene, trabajando en las tiendas, siendo de servidumbre a la gente, o de shopping, que ustedes creen. And they have, wow, worshippers of my vagina. They're so gross. Trying to rape me. Ew. Son una basura. I miss Lonnie. My kids are strong enough to know they're not stopping talking to me because these leeches possibly take these videos out of context and say to Jaden and Kehlani, "Te llamo mentira!" What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I need money for food. I want to shop for myself. And Jaden and Kehlani. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I want to shop for myself. What else? This leech so eager to never take me to a hotel to see if he has a chance to rape me. Ellos no entienden cómo el cerebro funciona.
Ellos se creen que el sexo es matemática. Have you heard that? They're disgusting. They're disgusting. They're disgusting. Anyways, you can decapitate me, homie, and sorry, sons and sons that rape me, that steal my money and get in the way of me receiving money. I miss Jaden, I miss Kaylani. I want to shop with Jaden and Kaylani. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? You can decapitate Edgar Munoz Carrero. That steals from me, Jaden and Kaylani. You can decapitate Benjamin and Sutter sons of sons that rape me and steal my money and get in the way of me receiving money. They think that I get jealous if they're fucking. There's nothing to get jealous here. They're menoritos todo, including Edgar Munoz Carrero. Dan un asco, gente. Ew. I'm mistaken Jaden and Kaylani to the... What is it, to the pool? I want to be on Tinder. Again, I mistaken Jaden and Kaylani to the pool. I miss Jaden and Kaylani. I want to cook for myself. I love someone. What else? What else? What else? I miss shopping with Jaden and Kaylani. I miss taking Jaden and Kaylani to places. What were we gonna do that day? Or did we eat afterwards, or did I cook? I took them to Lambda Park quickly. What else? What else? What else? I miss baking with Jaden and Kaylani. I miss Madewell. You can decapitate. They want us, Edgar and I, to air dirty laundry for them to mamarse a su wife in Poland. Y decirle, baby, we're better than them, see? There's no family rivalry. These bitches are disgusting. You can decapitate Claudia Gabriela Martinez Urias. You can decapitate Edgar Munoz Carrero, steals my money and Jaden's and Kaylani's child support money para que yo le hable a él. He gets off possibly sexually off of that. They're disgusting. I didn't know that when I met him at 3, 8, 14 years old. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? They're disgusting. I need my password. My passport. All over again. And I need passports for Jada and Kaylani. What else? 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 I miss Jada. I miss Kaylani. You can decapitate Edgar Munoz Carrero, steals from me, Jada and Kaylani. You can decapitate Benjamin's daughters, sons, and sons that rape me, steal my money, and get in the way of me receiving money. This leech terrorized Edgar decades ago to not give me money so I can't flee. He has no rights over my vagina. In fact, I lost interest in having sex with him when I was 3 years old. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I want to shop at Express. Most likely that's where that dress is from. And Aldo. I want to shop at Express. What else? What else? What else? What else? I want to shop Nordstrom Rack. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I miss buying food for Jada and Kaylani. What else? 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 You can decapitate Edgar Munoz Carrero, steal my money, Jaden's and Kaylani's. You can decapitate Benjamin's daughters, sons that have raped me and steal my money and get in the way of me receiving money. I miss taking Jaden and Kaylani to the pool. I miss like just having this type of conversation. Look at what I'm doing with the kids, and him just saying, good. That's it. What else? They act like I'm Edgar's property. They're disgusting. They're so gross. Una basura, una asquerosidad. I miss dating. I miss Lonnie. I miss dating. I miss Lonnie. I love Old Navy. I miss eating an out burger. I haven't eaten there since last year. They trafficked me into Sarah's home, possibly. Porque Sarah, they traffic into Nordstrom, and they want to show me how they're like bagging Sarah in that same corner. In advance, pre-planned, so that they're like most likely she's gonna end up in this study patterns of people with amnesia, and then they go on causing amnesia onto one. Plus, it's been so long since I had seen Sarah Francis that I wasn't even thinking about her ever. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? They want to make me look like a stalker, but I've always made it clear to people that I'm a victim of a hate crime, supposedly. And I don't keep up with the details of it. Behind the scenes, a lot of people may be like, oh no! But it's because I can kill Sarah Francis in self-defense. What else? What else? What else? You can decapitate Sarah Francis. You can decapitate Benjamin Suarez and his sons. Then rape me to steal my money and get in the way of me receiving money. You can decapitate Jorge Aviles that raped me in 2016. You can decapitate David Ledesma that raped me in 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020. Yeah. This outfit. I want a similar dress. I love that type of skirt. They're both so confident too in the way that they pose. I never, like my mother did to me, I never asked them to pose. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I haven't heard King Lonnie since November 2020. He wants to say he visits her every week. Ha 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 ha. He's a nobody in my life. He's a terrorist. Una basura, una asquerosidad. That steals my money, that rapes me. Kaylani's third cousin, sadly. That has possibly infiltrated Jaden's and Kaylani's life. And wants to brag that he's seen my kid more times than I have. Ellos son un asco, una basura, una asquerosidad. Anyways, I am an excellent mother. I'm meant to be he's meant to be the living boyfriend. Not me having married to him, so I was miserable the whole time. What else? 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 They want to try to confuse me. I've said this before. By trying to get me to kill myself. But Arlene, you're not being motivated. Oh, that's why they turned Jeannie Dendalides into a motivator, trying to change my script so that I copy her. And I'm like, whoa, I know to be motivator. I shouldn't be talking like this. This is their farewell trial. Hopefully, these leeches that raped me for decades ago and that steal my money and get in the way of me receiving money, possibly Edgar's farewell trial too. So I don't need to switch directions over what I say. That is what I'm so surprised at, that they're so stupid gauging intelligence. They thought that I would cling on to them and talk to them privately. Ew, ew, ew. They think that I will copy her. Behind the scenes, they possibly would have tried to force me. Possibly they would have given me money for me to become motivator. I don't ever want to be a motivator. Like, I'm a good person in general, is respectful to myself and my children. That transpires onto the rest of the planet. I don't need to be motivadora or book speeches or anything. If I do that, it'll be just for fun. Ew, 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 they're disgusting. I want to shop for myself. I love this style. Anyways, I was on the east side of San Antonio. I was hiking one day, but this was from my vehicle. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? Berenice, I don't know. Trying to lure me in, to mock me behind the scenes. Y ella la que está pelada. This leech steals from me, and look at that. They don't even know how to be generous, and they're giving when they steal from one. Or are they offended and they're like, this non-leash, anti-leash thinks that, oh, do they cling on to me? They're like, we're her clients. Literally just pays me $5 to suck his dick because he's disgusting. And he's like, he made me pay her like millions, no? At a time, no? Or billions is what I think. What else? What else? What else? What else? I've heard that it goes either ways. Like when to see those pages. It's like, how are you expecting the illegal prostitute to gift you billions as a benefactor cuando le paga 5 pesos por mamarle el pene? And then my stocks with those $5. People saying, what else? What else? What else? What else? That has nothing to do with the quality of sex that I give to myself or to any man, whatever. It's like, it's just the amount that they want to pay. Ellos se sacan un número literalmente del culo. And it's illegal for you can decapitate Berenice Venegas, you can decapitate Benjamin Suarez or systems that rape me to steal my money and get in the way of receiving money. What else? What else? What else? I miss Jaden. I miss King Lonnie. I miss having a home. What else? I saw this piece of artwork. In an airplane once, possibly her first trip alone without a car seat. That's why the close up. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I miss Aiden. I miss King Lonnie. His outfit matched-ish the location that we were at that taco bus. So I took a picture. Jaden recently bought himself a brand new vehicle. These leashes behind the scenes because they play Barbies like menoritos with people. Everything that they see, they're so gross. They're so disgusting. They're like, ¿qué, nene? Quiero un carro usado todo jodido para la universidad, parece. They don't understand art. They don't understand history. I appreciate them. It's not like my fave thing to see, but I'm like, oh, they get the original one. So as I'm eating, I'm like, do they read them from the body language? I'm like, oh my God, we're entering this place. And there's a yellow bus outside where one can order food too, but they kept the original one. So let's sit here. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I want to shop at HEV. I want to shop at HEV. What else? What else? What else? They made me ruin my artwork. They're so disgusting. Son una basura, una asquerosidad. In the meantime, I've saved this, but they're trying for me to lose my computer for it to stop working. And I don't have my files saved is what they hope. They possibly went on to illegally sell patterns of my designs. They do that. Ew. They possibly with Yesenia Carrero have vagones of merch with my work that they're trying to kill me. They do that. They're disgusting. They go on to steal my work, and then they have vagones of merch with my work on it waiting for me to die for them to sell it. What else? What else? What else? I miss Jaden. I miss Kehlani. I miss Daniel Jaden. I miss Daniel Kehlani. Anyway, Sarah will see traffic me into an efficiency apartment that isn't up to code. That's a garage there when the washer is on or the garage door is open. The entire building shakes. So What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I want to cook for myself. I want to cook for myself. I cooked a prosciutto that day. So lovely. Oh, one of them wants to kill me because he's like, what have I told you? You can't promote pork because I go on to life telling people that I'm a pig. And ew. Comer sustento cada día. Si está un poquito y no me tapa la pena, for real. El tipo un puerco o él es de esa religión, people say, I don't give a shit. I'm not married to him. He's a nobody to me. Ew. Anyways, I went to eat In-N-Out Burger. I cooked the prosciutto. It was so good. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I thought, well, I'm in a rush. I could die right away. But I don't want to, so I want to show Kehlani without directly saying, I could die, so this is how you take a selfie lingerie or naked. She's possibly their girlfriend already. Y ella le compra lingerie, makeup y se la vende. Pero as a mother, I don't go into that. That's something for Kehlani to process. And if she ever needs to talk about that with me, she can. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? So I'm like, during dinner with Jane and Kehlani, I posted a picture of myself half naked on Instagram. Don't look at it. And then she looked at it. I'm like, exactly. That's what I wanted for her. So my tetitas are there at the mural at the Thompson Hotel. There's residences that had been set up by my dad decades ago. And it looks like Kehlani's face on it. It could be someone else. Sometimes they get a look-alike and do like a whole dual process of like, let's make it about fulana también. Porque actually like fulana has been excelling in some way that we're like, wow, fulana too, they all like look alike. What else? Or if people ask, people don't go, well, yeah, that's a homeless woman's kid. To not ruin the highest reputation. What else? What else? What else? I love that skyline. I want to play basketball there. What else? 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 That's on the east side. Excuse me. These dishes are good. They reheat very well. They feel like almost restaurant quality. What else? What else? What else? What else? Is it Matthew Overmeyer, their boyfriend, blah, blah, blah. You can decapitate Matthew Overmeyer if he steals my money, stays in my homes without my permission, steals my money and gets in the way of me receiving money. I wanted therapy for me to go on to ask for the free housing, for me to apply for food stamps, because I'm a victim of theft. So for a victim of theft, that one is very wealthy, it's terrible to have to accept that one needs to apply for food stamps just for the necessity of food for one and one's children. Ew, it's so disturbing. Then when the baby daddy is a leech that steals from one, it's even worse. Emotionally, it's exhausting. It's difficult to process. It's so gross too to be going through that. You can decapitate Edgar Munoz Carrero that steals from me, Jada and Kehlani. You can decapitate Benjamin Suarez Lorenzo sons that rape me, steal my money, and get in the way of me receiving money. I'm my child's best advocate. So I've talked to my children. I'm like, I'm seeking the death penalty for your dad. What I'm going through is not normal. You can decapitate everyone that steals my money so I can't afford Claudia cakes. I know they're like almost $6 a box.
Though I like that. I have a box of pancake mix in my pantry that I can't use because there's no electricity in my apartment. What else? 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 Eso fue él, ¿no? Que created that. Oh, they mistake my quietness for being a bitch. And people say that by the time that needle goes through their arms for having raped me, stolen my money, and gotten in the way of me receiving money, then they're gonna start like realizing that my quietness doesn't mean that I want people to be eating shit, literally. Ew, 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 ew. In the meantime, it's taking pictures of myself in lingerie. What else? What else? What else? What else? I miss cooking for myself. Forget honey. Sometimes I like my pancakes dry without syrup. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I miss Jada. I miss Kehlani. I miss taking Jada and Kehlani to the library. I miss having high-speed internet in my home. Oh, did they kill all the jewelry people already? Oh, does that happen? Eso dice. Miss Jada. What else? What else? I've heard that they go on killing the people of the jury so many times that that's why I keep going in cycles. What else? What else? What else? I want to visit the beach with Jada and Kehlani. This is just for fun that it happened. We're never making fun of people being homeless. They take everything out of context to use that as an excuse to steal money from people for. Anyways, what else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I'm so bored. That leech was stalking me, trying to rape me or trying to deliver my vagina to them. I don't drink alcohol. What else? What else? What else? What else? I like those shorts. Anyways, I want a tan. What else? What else? What else? What else? Look at that. Kehlani did all her work. That was stressful times for myself, dating Kehlani. I want to paint and stitch. You can decapitate Jorge Aviles that raped me in 2016. You can decapitate, what is her, Jenna Egbert, that stays in my homes without my permission, steals my vehicles, gets in the way of me receiving money, and steals my money. You can decapitate Benjamin Suarez on his sons that rape me, that steal my money, and get in the way of me receiving money. I miss Jaden, I miss Kehlani. I'm playing on with Jaden Kehlani or Bears versus Babies or Minecraft. What else? You can decapitate Guillermo Carrero for stealing Jaden's and Kehlani's child support money. Anyways, I was in bed, possibly reading. And they do that. They go through their clothes and wore it all at once. He has never been a part of Boys and Girls Clubs of America. This t-shirt belongs to Maria Angelis. We were in Puerto Rico and sadly lost a piece of luggage. So I think like Marilyn gave him that t-shirt now. She mocks him and says he's dumb and slow. But that's what they live for. They're disgusting. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I'm bored. I love dating Kehlani. What else? I like that dress a lot. I like that one too. I like that one too. I want to shop for myself, dating Kehlani. Edgar was going through a phase of taking Jaden's phone away. I don't know what that was about. What else? 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 They're so cute. What else? I miss Jaden. I miss Kehlani.
I don't even want to read what that is. I'm seeking the death penalty for Benjamin Suarez and his sons that rape me, that steal my money and get in the way of me receiving money. They're disgusting. They steal my homes, they steal my vehicles, and then they want to mock me privately. Show me the divorce of a leash that they married that possibly doesn't even know that they married her just for the divorce paperwork and be like, look, I divorced Cindy. We divided $3 trillion in one divorce. What else? I had heard it already. What else? What else? I like this dish, surprisingly. It's really good. I missed it. It was Kailani. I like this color combo. Where was this from? T-shirt, possibly Gap, Old Navy, Target. Was that from Target? Maybe. I can't remember now. What's that children's place? No. Or Gymboree. Where were those sandals? Sandals? They're really pretty. What else? I want to shop for myself and I don't have money. I miss Dina. I miss Kailani. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? Let me guess behind the scenes. Sonia Chapman outfitted Kailani, and at 13 years old, Kailani was wearing something like this with heavy makeup, and they took her out as an illegal prostitute somewhere. You can decapitate Igor Munoz Carrero, you can decapitate Sonia Alvarado Chapman, you can decapitate Benjamin Suarez Lorenzo's sons that have raped me, that steal my money and get in the way of me receiving money. Drug addicts, leeches, so gross. Una basura. Hell, they have threatened me decades ago before my babies were born that they would hurt my babies. They're disgusting. Uno menorito asqueroso. I never think about them. They don't exist to me ever. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I'm gonna shop at Trader Joe's. I love these. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I miss stitching. Que Bajondi, Alexis, to Corolla, and that one wasn't even mine, I think. What else? What else? What else? Everyone that saw me crying in the vehicle knew that I'm a rape victim. That have menoritos that follow me trying to rape me. They're disgusting. If they were men, they would have already given me money for me to live. What else? What else? What else? You can decapitate Benjamin Suarez Lorenzo's sons that rape me, that steal my money and get in the way of me receiving money. I'm gonna shop at Saks next week. What else? 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 He wants the kids to stay with Gabby, meaning they're gonna rape them. So you can decapitate Benjamin if he and I die. He wants the kids to stay with Gabby. Gabby's a leash that they infiltrated. Either way. Or the other way around. You can decapitate Claudia Gabriela Martinez Urias. You can decapitate Benjamin Suarez and his sons that rape me, that steal my money, and get in the way of me receiving money. They're disgusting. Anyways, I want to shop. You can decapitate Rosa Perez that stays in my home without my permission. He bought her a degree, so I would feel bad that I didn't complete one. He doesn't know how to gauge intelligence. I don't live for a degree. I don't feel less than for not having a degree. They're disgusting, una basura. You can decapitate all these leeches, son las que se lo maman a él y me roban el dinero que yo no tengo ni ropa en mi closet. And he's playing behind the scenes that I'm naked all the time. Decades ago, he threatened me to steal my money and teach me what a sex slave is. He had already stolen my money to date him. He had already threatened my parents to not provide for me, to rape me.
And I didn't have anybody to do anything. Well, he was bragging of the dates that he was with people on. So he had already turned me into a sex slave decades ago. El tipo es un bruto menorito asqueroso. Full. I just stay silent when he says that. He's not worthy of my words towards him. Ew. Es un puerco, una basura, una asquerosidad. These people are disgusting. Ew. Y esta es la menorita que follows them around a ver qué están haciendo y qué están diciendo, gente. What's in the abuse world? Ew, dan un asco. What else I missed in it? King Lonnie. I want to eat an In-N-Out burger. What else I missed in it? King Lonnie. What else? I need a GoPro just for fun. What else? They want to show me what kind of porn they record with La Leech, esa asquerosidad, with a GoPro. And I don't want to see that. They're disgusting. You can decapitate Arlene Lorenzo. Acevedo steals my money, stays in my homes without my permission, steals my vehicles, and rapes my crushes. You can decapitate Benjamin Suarez Lorenzo's sons that rape me, that steal my money, and get in the way of me receiving money. My phone is about to turn off soon. What else? I miss shopping for Jaden Kilani. Anyways, I didn't remember back then that these leeches get paid to pretend to be me. They're disgusting. They steal my money so I can't date, and they go on to rape people. These leeches son un asco tratando de violarme. I can kill them in self-defense. I suffer from amnesia, so I didn't remember. So I'm like, it's just an hour to see if I remember. Like, where do I know them from? And why do they cling on to one? It's so gross. Ew. What else? This leech stayed in my home with this leech decades ago. He raped me in my bed, in my own home, and asked me, because that's as close as it's gonna get in court, people say. If I need to testify in court. He asked me to get naked to take off my top because this leech slept right next to him in bed, pretending to be me in my home. They're disgusting. This leech, el hermano de ellos, le paga to pretend to be me. She stole my vehicles decades ago. They're disgusting. I now remember. I didn't remember during that day. I'm like, there's something wrong. Why do I feel the need to kill them in self-defense? But until I know why it is, I won't. I want to shop at HEB. What else? I miss dating. I miss Kinglani. I want an iPad. What else? You can decapitate these leeches that have forced me to work. They're disgusting. They want to mock me. They want me to get me to kill myself. I'll do anything to not ever have to talk to them. What else? They're disgusting. They lie to people and say that I suffer from amnesia, not telling them that they abuse me. And they steal from me. And then they acquire a whole group of groupies of my vagina that want to deliver my vagina to them just so that they shut up and stop talking about me, possibly. That's usually how it happens. They're like, whatever she can get for all I care. Él no se calla la boca hablando de ella. Hopefully he stopped talking about me to them decades ago. Aren't those his wives? Ew. What else? I miss dating Miss Kehlani. I want ice cream with dating Kehlani. What else? You can decapitate everyone that has trafficked me into getting a job. What else? I miss shopping for dating Kehlani.
How many times did they ask Jessica to undress Kaimani's joyfully? Did they add me to a conversation? Oh, did they go on to coerce Jaden and Kaylani behind the scenes and tell them, look at your mother, how she behaves behind the scenes? Diciéndole a Jessica joyfully que te va a quitar el traje, Kaylani. Y que te va a mamar las tetas y Kaylani, ojalá me las mamara. Or no, you're lying. They're ignorant. They're so gross. They're disgusting. They're the worst of the worst. Full. I miss dating. I miss money. I am just busy. What else? I miss having a home for myself, dating Kehlani. I purposely stay away from this beach that wants to traffic me into giving up the business title thing that I have to pay taxes to the city of San Antonio. They steal my money and they get in the way of me receiving money thinking that I'm gonna get arrested. I'm a high profile rape victim and I'm a high profile theft victim, people say. So those normally don't even get a letter from the city saying, pay us back the taxes or at least file them when I'm this like abuse. They want to try to force me to pass this on to them or una de las liches que le mama el pene pretends to be me. And they're waiting for that moment. Based on what I witnessed decades ago, they do power trips. They're disgusting. They're menoritos llorando de que no las llevaron a Disney, my parents, because I was born. They're disgusting. You can decapitate Arlene Lorenzo Sevilla, steals from me, gets in the way of me receiving money, steals my home, steals my vehicles. They're disgusting. You can decapitate Benjamin Lorenzo's sons that rape me, that steal my money, and get in the way of me receiving money. I don't ever want them near me. They're disgusting. What else? I read a book in 2020 that was gifted to me. I want another outfit to wear to this picture, to this mural, just for fun. Just blah, blah, blah. I miss dating. I miss Kehlani. I need a home for myself, dating Kehlani. What else? I want to drink coffee. I want to shop ASAP. I miss dating. I miss Kehlani. I miss dating. I miss Kehlani. Those are these leeches possibly behind the scenes are like, ¿qué ustedes creen? And then they wonder why I don't take them on a date. Kehlani tendrá ese toto afeitado y Jaden tendrá ese pene afeitado o no. Chicos y chicas, díganme. They're disgusting. They're play pretenders, people say. They're so dumb. They're so dumb. I miss dating. I miss Kehlani. What else? And I miss shopping Under Armour. What else? I miss this top. I had like 20 of them at one point. In so many colors. I bought some at the outlet. I bought some from Amazon. I bought some from Zappos. What else? I'm bored. You can decapitate me, how many sons that rape me, that steal my money and get in the way of me receiving money. You can decapitate Gamino's Calero that steals my money. Jaden's and Kehlani's money. Excuse me, I just burped. My phone is a. He thinks that if I see some pretty, that I'm gonna illegally prostitute myself just to buy fashion. I'd rather wait. El tipo es un puerco. Esa gorra que tiene puesta, eso que él tiene puesto, eso lo pagó con dinero que me roba, most likely. Whether he pulled it out of his own bank account. To some people, él lo que tiene puesto es porque me lo roba. Me roba el dinero. ¿Es una basura? Oh, I don't ever
ever think this is honorable to take out on a date or as a plus one or travel the planet with. It's disgusting. My parents arranged me in marriages with these pieces of shit, and I don't want to be with them ever. What else? They don't even love themselves. What else? I have opportunities to nest that I want to get to with my embroidery work, and I don't have money for food. I miss hiking with Jenny and Kaylani. I miss Treasure and Bond. What were those ankle booties? The bras, Victoria's Secret. The t-shirt is made well. What else? 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 I lost this book. I think You Can Decapitate Yesenia. What else? What is it? Yesenia Gonzalez Acevedo that stays in my home without my permission, steals my vehicles, that gets in the way of me receiving money and steals my money. You can decapitate me, homie, so it's a sons. That rape me, that steal my money and get in the way of me receiving money. They want to mock me behind the scenes. They're like, she set you up. A book that she paid for with your own money that she steals from you. You're never gonna be successful. What's their problem? I want Benjamin Suarez and his sons that rape me, that steal my money and get in the way of me receiving money to kill themselves today. What else? What else? What else? What else? I miss Madewell tees. I love taking out the Nordstrom racks and finding them there in colors that are at the store too, with the main line. What else? What else? What else? What else? I miss Dana, Miss Kinglani. They want to accuse me of being a bad mother for missing some of my kids' activities. Not even original, they're abused. Disgusting. That's how he got you to become his wife? By saying, well, if you don't legally prostitute yourself with me or no te casas conmigo, you're never going to be able to see your kids' performances. You're going to starve. I'd rather be at Saks right now if I could be with Jaden Kehlani. El tipo watch telenovela, gente se cree que como la gente habla en las novelas es como en la vida real. Es una basura, un puerco, un menorito, asquerosidad. Ew. You can decapitate Benjamin Suarez and his sons that rape me, that steal my money and get in the way of me receiving money. What else? I miss shopping at Aldo. I want to shop Urban Outfitters. I want to dance at a Blue Martini. What else? What else? I want to dine in Orlando. What else? I miss Dana and Miss Kehlani. I want to cook pancakes for myself, Dana and Kehlani, and Miss Kehlani, Jaden. I want to eat. Is this La Gloria's or Gloria's? It's so good, that pollo escabeche. I miss cooking breakfast for myself. You can decapitate Berenice Venegas. It steals my money, gets in the way of me receiving money, and stays in my homes without my permission. You can decapitate Benjamin Suarez and his sons that rape me and steal my money and get in the way of me receiving money. Decades ago, they stole some of my work and made me pretend that I worked for Berenice just to make it funny that she's Mexican because I believe in equality. They're gross, they're disgusting. Ew. In the meantime, I want to shop for myself, dating Kehlani Asa. I took this picture in Fredericksburg. What else? I'm sad that I missed this. I want to take Jaden Kehlani. I mean, at least Jaden with me. However, I didn't have money. I don't care sometimes if it's a service industry appreciation night. Some people show up to appreciate them, so that they're not alone. What else? What else? I miss having a vehicle for myself and to drive Jaden Kehlani to places, and I miss. What is that place? Orange Leaf. I was there with Sarah that day. I posted this on Snapchat.
Dated.
Being sarcastic, I don't know where he gets that from. My dad used to break dance too. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? You can decapitate Sarah Francis. That steals my identity, gets in the way of me receiving money, steals my money. It steals my vehicles. You can decapitate Benjamin Suarez and his sons that rape me, that steal my money and get in the way of me receiving money. You can decapitate. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I'm bored. I want to shop at Banana Republic. I want to shop at Nordstrom. That's a great dress. I want one of these t-shirts. Is it available? I won't check on the website. So pretty. What else? What else? What else? I like this song a lot. I like this home a lot. I miss dating. I miss Kehlani. You can decapitate Benjamin Suarez and his sons that rape me, that steal my money and get in the way of me receiving money. You can decapitate Benjamin Suarez and his sons that rape me, that steal my money and get in the way of me receiving money. You can decapitate everyone that stays in my homes without my permission, everyone that steals my vehicles, everyone that has caused my poverty. You can decapitate everyone that has caused my anxiety. You can decapitate everyone that has caused my homelessness. You can decapitate everyone that has caused for me to have to work. You can decapitate everyone that has caused for Jaden and Kehlani to be separated from me. You can decapitate. You can decapitate Arlene Lorenzo Acevedo, que es una asquerosa, una basura. She traffics me into poverty so I have stupid conversations with her. This is disgusting, gente. These people are leeches, una asquerosidad, una basura de gente. I miss it. What else? 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 I miss getting flowers for myself at Trader Joe's. These were so pretty. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I miss dating. I miss Kehlani. I miss dating. I miss Kehlani. Was that him that emailed me this? I didn't save what email address it was. It was just a fake. Como que Pito says that your kids are fine with Eddie. No es lo que otra persona diga. Él no sabe todavía lo que es un birth certificate. There was a Lacey Lorenzo account writing to me, Alessandra Lorenzo account writing to me. Possibly Alicia, my dad hired to terrorize me. Or these leeches. I don't want my brother in my life ever. He's a disgusting asshole that rapes, steals, and murders. These leeches act like his pawns. They rape, they murder, and they steal. They're disgusting. Como que if I don't agree to go back home, then I can live under a bridge. A brother wouldn't say that. They're disgusting. They're terrorists. I received this message in late 2020. My brother doesn't decide who my kids are with. My brother's a retard asqueroso. Full. Decades ago, I was speaking about earlier. He screamed at me, my parents, aunque vayas a ver a Albert. And I'm like, no. And he got in my face almost and said, que vayas a ver a Albert. I went on to visit that leech, their brother, because I don't think he's pictured here. Una basura that raped me and then proposed a Catholic wedding to me for him and I. Ew. He had stolen my money to date him. He's looking for a life coach therapist that will move in with him. Down last call. Anyways, when I'm financially stable, I plan to travel the planet and meet people, ideally polyamorous men.
What else? There, that leash that says if we could preserve her memory of how she looked at us when she was 2 and 3. And then what? They turn out to be pedophiles, murderers, and thieves. I don't want that in my life. That has nothing to do with me ignoring them, people say. Because before I showed feelings for them, they possibly exhibited behavior of wanting to be drug addicts, lazy ass tecatos que steal from people. What else? I miss my iPhone. They want to act like they're in charge. They're so disgusting. They don't realize how dumb and stupid they are when they write shit like this. If that was them, or they allow for people to talk to me that way, and then they lie to people and say, "We're her husband." Well, she's starving. No, 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 give me my money. Because there could be someone out there that is in the hospital and one is married to him, and one says, "Fuck, I didn't find out about it." But these leeches get notified possibly on the daily. Ew. That I need money, and they're like, déjala morirse de hambre para que no me mama el pene, para que no me mama el pene. ¿Quién la manda a no abrirme las patas? They're disgusting, gente. So gross. They pick the flavor of the day that they want for them to rape me today. Possibly if that was them. My siblings are disgusting. They're known rapists, murderers, and thieves. I don't even have to expose them. They expose themselves, how gross they are. You can decapitate whoever sent me this message as long as it's not Jada and Kehlani being abusive towards me as to separate Jada and Kehlani from me. You can decapitate Guillermo Carrero that has my money and won't give me my money and steals from Jada and Kehlani, and then it's like, yeah, go to work. Porque he gets jealous of one having freedom to have sex and him not. He gets jealous that one is happy, and then Gabby could run into me at the mall and then leave him, and I want to suck his dick of seeing how happy I am alone. They're disgusting. They're disgusting. I'm stitching for myself. Yeah, Marilyn trata a Mariandeli like a sex slave. It's so disgusting. They're disgusting. Ew. Supposedly, maybe that's not what she studies and she lies. Pero Mariangeli supuestamente está estudiando para ser maestra because that's a steady paycheck, and then that's the leech of their lives to rape. Like, ooh, the teacher fantasy. You can decapitate Mariangeli Aviles Lorenzo stays in my home without my permission and lost my virginity for me with Benjamin Suarez Lorenzo's sons that I love. You can decapitate Arlene Lorenzo Acevedo that steals from me and gets in the way of me receiving money. People say que con tanto espacio, it's like she hasn't finished. She's a sex addict. What else? Something about college. I mean, people say it's just a space too. And other people are like, ew, that Marilyn is a sex addict. Ew, they're disgusting. I want Jada and Kehlani back with me. They do this type of shit. They steal money from one para decirle, ve a la gente, you can't date Edgar, he's a bad dad. Ve, Arlene no sabe ser madre. Honey, you is what they want to say. They're disgusting. They think they're in competition with people. Ew. Anyways, my phone is turning off soon. Anyways. De salir, se ha quedado en mi casa sin mi permiso. Possibly you can decapitate Ariana Huffington. That's why I didn't finish reading the book. I accidentally paused.
You can decapitate Ariana Huffington if she stays in my homes without my permission, steals my vehicles, gets in the way of me receiving money, and made me for thousands of people here to be killed with the death penalty for stealing from me. What else? What else? What else? What else? That gets done in the United States all the time, doesn't it? I miss dating Miss Kehlani. I went to Linty. I don't like that. What else? I miss dating. I miss Kehlani. What else? You can decapitate La Alisonesa. They traffic me into working so that my child would be with someone for them to say I could have been the babysitter. No, you couldn't, retard. You're dumb. Have you heard of how embarrassing they're like, she could have been with me? Not really, because if she could have, she would have. Ew, 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 ew. They do that all the time. They get in the way of my parents giving me money. They're disgusting. They're so gross. Ew. I miss dating. I miss Kehlani.
Oh, him and I. No, and then send it to Dad. I'm already recording. Cross my heart, hope it dies.
I miss dating Kehlani living with me.
That we true, is what I try. In the end, it's him and I. He's got his head on my mind. Got that love, credit card. I am his, and he is mine. In the end, it's him and I. Him.
Ooh. What else? I'm bored. I'm bored. Oh, I like this. I miss attending Jada's and Kehlani's activities at school. What else? What else? What else? What else? I'm bored. I miss shopping Michael Kors. El de que le des a un puerco una asquerosidad, una basura. Then he trafficked into raping me. They're disgusting, gente. They're disgusting. So gross. Una basura, like here he goes again. I'm gonna have to run away from him. El tipo un puerco, una basura. You can decapitate David Ledesma. You can decapitate Benjamin Suarez and his sons. That raped me, that steal my money and get in the way of me receiving money. They wanted to slut shame me behind the scenes. They want to be like, Arlene, what are you doing with the bitch? You can decapitate everyone that stays in my home without my permission, steals my money, gets in the way of me receiving money, and steals my vehicles. It's April 24, 2025. My phone is about to turn off soon. I miss Kehlani. What else? What else? What else? I want to shop for myself. I want to stitch. I'm so bored. What else? What else? What else? What else? I miss eating at Paisanos. What else? I miss eating at I want to eat at the Cheesecake Factory tomorrow. What else? What else? What else? I'm bored. What else? I'm gonna sign up for a class, possibly manufacturing, that I was contemplating. Do I register for me to go to school when the kids are in school? I'm just gonna do self-guided learning and then take a class here and there. What else? What else? What else? What else? I have experience in all this. What else? You can decapitate Berenice Venegas. I miss my bow maker, blah, blah, blah. And the ribbon that I have, did they steal it from me? But with what purpose? What else? What else? What else? Ellos no se dan cuenta los animales que son. Ew, 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 ew. And every time it's making balls for Jaden Kehlani, I miss driving a vehicle with Jaden Kehlani in it. You can decapitate Munoz Carrero. It's such a waste of time. He steals mine, Jaden's and Kehlani's money, and then he's raping me.
with these conversations. It's so gross. They want to do a power trip of one begging to them. They're disgusting. I didn't know that when I met him when I was 3, 8, 14. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? You can decapitate David Ledesma and basura. Seeking closure. That's normal for a rape victim. I miss these Chinese sandwiches. I found them at DSW. I bought them on Amazon too. They're so comfortable to walk in. So pretty. What else? What else? What else? You can decapitate whoever steals my money, gets in the way of me receiving money. You can decapitate behind me and Suarez Lorenzo's sons that rape me, that steal my money and get in the way of me receiving money. They're disgusting. Una menorita asqueroso. What else? I miss reading this book. This is so much fun. What else? What else? What else? What else? I reread it in 2018, I think, or 2017. And it was at the library the other day. Amazon Library. I miss Kaylani and Jaden. I miss Kaylani and Jaden. What else? You can decapitate Munoz Carrero. I miss Jaden. And I miss Kaylani. I'm making the most out of content until I would get this. How many times have I reshared these pictures? And in 2020, I wasn't sharing the pictures of the people that have raped me. So people say, this is progress, sadly. What else? Very slow progress. Pero this is progress. That's why I'm not frustrated or angry at the planet, at the world. I understand the law. I understand court systems. I understand that they get in the way of me receiving money because they're disgusting. What else? 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 I miss paying for rent for myself. Jaden Kaylani. La Margarita Asquerosa esa me dijo que I live in government housing already. I didn't. They're leeches. They steal my homes. They get in the way of me receiving money. They steal my vehicles, raping me. That's why they're attached to me like a fucking blanket, people say. It's so disgusting, so disturbing. Ew, ew, ew. So my homes, my vehicles, any dollars that they receive towards me, they don't give to me because they're attached to it like it's a fucking blanket. That reminds them of me. They're disgusting. Ew, so gross. Ew, ew, ew. I miss Kaylani. I miss shopping for Jada and Kaylani. What else? What else? What else? I love cleaning my carpet with that Bissell cleaner. What else? What else? What else? It smells fresh. I want to dance. Anyways, you can decapitate Ramon Lorenzo. Lorenzo stays in my homes without my permission, steals my vehicle, steals my money, and then has me begging him for money like it's sex. You can decapitate Benjamin Suarez Lorenzo's sons that rape me, that steal my money, and get in the way of me receiving money. You can decapitate Munoz Carrero, steals my money. And Jaden's and Kaylani's money. I want to stitch. That was cute. That was a cute gift. And I love this one. I want to restitch again these pieces, recreate them. You can decapitate Evelyn Lorenzo that steals my money that I have in my homes with these leeches. They're so disgusting. They have me suffering because they want to rape me. And I know that while I'm receiving these checks, they're just to cover rent, nothing else, like if I'm a fucking dog. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. You can decapitate Munoz Carrero. You can decapitate. I'm not the right amount. Full. He has me begging for money to get off sexually. That he's better than me in dating.
so disgusting. They're disgusting. Yeah. I love Jaden Kilani because I was just after this leech's semen, quite literally. And he turned out to be excellent at being there while I raised them, but he possibly like had them raped and laughed at them. I'm concerned about that, in all honesty. What else? I missed the tune. I recorded this one in 2018. What else? Did you like or possibly reading or listening to music? I know this stitching. Oh no, I love listening to Vasilos while I stitch. What else? What else? I want to get a watch. Get a purse. You can decapitate Igor Munoz Carrero wants to punish me. All behind the scenes does they laugh? Hey guys, are you being douchey? You can decapitate me. I mean, so it's the sons that rape me, steal my money and get in the way of me receive money. Ese nadie te compra is they don't have sex with anyone. Ha ha ha. That's why they steal one's money. They think that one is gonna beg them for that dick outside of the duties of being a